Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on Sunday, September 1st, 2013. This is episode 1010. Enjoy. Well, hey, happy September. Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. And it's time to talk computers and the internet, cell phones and camcorders, MP3 players, home theater, and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is my number. If you want to talk about technology, I'd love to talk about it with you. 888-827-5536, toll free from anywhere in the U.S., outside the U.S., of course, or Canada. You can use Skype and get a hold of us. 8888 Ask Leo. Heather Hammond is here, keeping me company. We just had a boy band performing in the studio. And you said Crush. You liked them.
I did.
They were
Don't
cute.
Like them, no.
Shh. They're about 12, but they're cute.
I know.
They're really adorable. Bro Code was their name, and they've been living in started living in a van. Their mom's their manager in L.A., and now in an RV. And then they're in an RV now. Their first record is coming out. They use GarageBand to record it.
Love it.
Yeah. This is what's
exciting. It's a little bit of the Partridge Family story. The mom's involved.
It is. It is. Yeah, aren't they? They're sweet. Yeah, it's really cute, and they sound good. I like the music.
Yeah.
We'll when the music comes out, we'll play it on the show, and you can hear it. Yeah. 8888 Ask Leo. I'm trying to remember when did Steve Ballmer announce his retirement? Did I get the chance to talk about that last weekend, or is this new? I think it just happened, didn't it?
Well, I get to say I wasn't here last weekend. And
so you don't know.
I don't know.
It's probably the biggest story in tech. And the funny thing is, because I cover tech all week, it seems like I've been talking about this forever. But it happened actually on Tuesday of last week. The man who runs Microsoft and has for some years, 13 years, he's been the CEO at Microsoft, has announced he's going to step down. And at first, it wasn't clear, is he quitting? Is he being retired forcefully? He's 57 years old. He's not too old to continue at Microsoft. He said very gracefully, we wanted to find somebody younger who could oversee the transition of the company from an operating system and a software company to their new role, they say, is a devices and a services company. Devices being, I guess, tablets, the Surface tablet, and services being things like SkyDrive, Windows Server. I guess Office and Microsoft Windows are more and more services than software. By services, we mean something you subscribe to, you pay for every month or every year. It comes in from the internet. Certainly Office is that way now with Office 365. Windows, I think, will start being that way. So he said, I want somebody who can oversee, who can be here for the whole transition. It's going to take a while. But as we are starting to learn, and Kara Swisher is probably the one with the biggest scoop on this. She writes for All Things D. It probably wasn't as friendly and happy as they'd like to paint it. It's pretty clear, in fact, that it was, she says, more sudden than it was portrayed by the company, and most likely he was forced out. Forced out not only by the board of directors, but really more importantly by Bill Gates himself and stockholders who weren't happy. It's an interesting story because Ballmer oversaw over in his 13 years a huge growth in Microsoft in revenues and profits. I think a tripling of profits. But at the same time as he's tripling the profits, the Microsoft stock is flat, and the company's valuation tumbles from $600 billion to $270 billion. So which is more important, tripling profits or how the stock market sees you? And I guess you could say, well, it's not just how the stock market sees you. The stock market is looking at the future and looking at what the future holds for Microsoft, and that's probably fairly accurate. Mr. Ballmer has struggled a little bit with the new world of the internet and of apps. Microsoft was late to the table with Windows Phone. It's very good. It's very nice, but it's 3 years late. And because of it, both Android and iOS, the Apple operating system, have dug in, and Windows Phone only has 4% of the market. Windows 8.1 was Microsoft's belated nod to tablet computing. And that's ironic, too. Microsoft has been pushing tablet computing for more than 10 years under Steve Ballmer. Bill Gates was a huge proponent of tablet computing, but it never took off until Apple came along in 2010 and said, oh, no, this is how you do it. And the iPad became huge and, in fact, heralded the end of the PC era, according to many. PC sales have tumbled ever since. Microsoft was a PC company. So maybe it was merely history that brought down Steve Ballmer. He says they're starting the search for CEO. He's going to be there for the transition no more than a year. And I think this is probably the biggest tech story of the last few months, if not of the year. This is the guy who ran Microsoft. First it was Bill Gates, the founder. Then it was Bill Gates' Harvard roommate, the co-founder, Steve Ballmer. Now we don't know. Who can run Microsoft and make some sense out of the mishmash that company has become? Still very profitable, still very successful. Nobody's saying that. It's about the future, isn't it? Facebook's updated its privacy policy. Did you get the email? I think they make it confusing on purpose. So the biggest thing they're changing in this privacy policy is they're not really changing their policy, but they're changing how they talk about it. And the particular thing that bothers a lot of people, and it certainly bothers me, is that Facebook currently can use your picture, the picture you post of yourself on Facebook, to sell products to your friends. Leo Laporte likes Rice-A-Roni. Shouldn't you try it? It's an ad. It looks like an ad with my picture and my endorsement. I don't like that. They didn't ask my permission. They certainly don't compensate me. Maybe you've heard about this. The problem is you never see it. Only your friends do. So you got to ask your friends, hey, have you seen me in ads? And they'll say, what are you, crazy? No, really, on ads on your Facebook page. The old policy said you can use your privacy settings to limit how your name and profile picture may be associated with commercial, sponsored, or related content, such as a brand you liked, served, or enhanced by us. That was the old language. I think that's fairly clear. And there is a setting buried deep that you can turn it off. This is the new language. You give us the permission to use your name and profile picture, content, and information in connection with commercial, sponsored, or related content, such as a brand you like, served or enhanced by us. And then they say, and I don't know if this is clear, if you have selected a specific audience for your content or information, we'll respect your choice when we use it. That's basically saying if your posts are private, we'll keep it private. If your posts are public, my posts are public. That means they can use my name to advertise anything on Facebook. This is their new policy. And good luck finding it. So turn it off. Because they have, the New York Times called it a maze of privacy settings. Even their own Facebook and privacy page doesn't have all you need. There are at least 6 different menus with privacy control. 6. You want to see them? Go to your Facebook page. Click that little lock icon next to your name in the top left column. You'll find privacy settings, not in just privacy. That's where you'd look, right? But also in timeline and tagging, blocking, followers, apps, and ads. Thank you, Facebook, for making this even more obscure than it was. And, one thing I would mention is that Facebook's free. And, maybe it's not explicit, but it's certainly part of Facebook that you're paying for the use of Facebook, not just by looking at ads, but by giving your name to ads. Now they've made it extremely explicit. Maybe when we come back from the break, we can dig through these settings and find the place to turn it off. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Best thing to do is turn off Facebook. All right.
That's what I was going to say is what are you going to do?
So, well, where would you put it? You'd probably put it in ads,
Hey, let's
right?
face it, we're all trying to save money these days.
Let's look in ads.
I got that email, but I hadn't looked into it.
Yeah, what
yet.
is it? Well, oops, I got the wrong page. Everybody's got the email, but what does it mean?
Right.
Oh, here we go. Everyone wants to know what their friends like. Yeah. That's why we pair ads and friends, an easy way to, social ads, okay? So let's edit this. Let's go into ads and friends. Here is an example of a Facebook ad.
Whoops.
Leo Laporte likes Emu Sushi or something like that. Okay, pair my social actions with ads for no one. That is not the default, of course. That's how I've set it. So that's the first thing you can do. Select no one. Let's see what else. I wonder where else. Third-party sites. Facebook does not give third-party applications and networks the rights to use your name and pictures in ads. If we allow this in the future, show my information to no one. Where else can we find? Let's see, privacy. That's where you look. Who can see your first? See, this is because I'm using Facebook as a public figure, I make it public. I don't think this is going to change any of that. All right, that's good. Timeline and tagging, that's in there too. Who can see things on my timeline? Who can see with other posts? Review tags. People add to their own posts. When you're tagged in a post, you want to... Oh, my God.
Isn't Facebook using this as a way for you to vote how you feel as well?
They used to say we were going to let people vote on our policy, and then they stopped doing that.
Oh, I thought they were encouraging you to sort of chime in.
Not anymore.
Okay.
They decided that it wasn't working because so few people were chiming in.
Right,
So,
it's a pain in the rear.
So really, but I think that's the critical one. So we'll go in and show that one. I don't think it reveals any private information about me.
Do you ever check in at restaurants or salons?
All the time, but not on Facebook so much.
Okay.
Mostly Foursquare.
Because that would be information they'd continue to use,
It's
right?
really based on, that's one thing. It's based on likes. So if I like Ford, which I do, then you could see on your page an ad that says,
Right.
Leo likes Ford.
I try to tell them as little as possible, but maybe I will just quit.
I can't quit. I would quit, and I have quit before, but it's just part of my job. I mean, I can't do, for instance, what I'm about to do if I'm not a Facebook user. So I have to keep using it.
Right. Well, then if you do, I do, I guess.
No, you don't have
I'm down in the trenches
you don't have
with
to.
you.
Use Google Plus.
Well, I am.
Yeah, I
That's
love
where
Google Plus.
everybody that tried to find me through your show
Went to
has
Google Plus.
come.
Yeah. See, isn't that interesting?
Loving it.
Smart people use Google Plus.
I think so. Well, clearly.
It's one of the reasons I like Google Plus is because it's. But my mom sent me a text 2 weeks ago saying, "Can you please kill my Facebook page?"
She did.
Yeah.
Why?
Because she just doesn't want anybody to know she exists.
But you took care of that for her.
I know. I made but she doesn't understand that.
Doesn't seeing pictures of Ozzy and the grandkids outweigh any...
You'd think. But then there are a lot of people who that's why they can't. That's how I stay in touch with my family. my kids, that's how they stay in touch with their high school friends. Henry was chatting with Facebook with his future roommate. I remember when I went to college, I got a letter from my future roommate introducing himself, and I wrote him a letter back. These guys have been in touch all summer.
Why don't they use text, though?
I don't know. I guess they could text.
They could be on different
Facebook
time zones.
Text is a little intimate.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good. We had one microphone in the studio. That's bro code. They were in three of the cutest boys, brothers, all three brothers. They're living in an RV in L.A. trying to make it in the music industry, and they came by the studio in their little black shirts and white bow ties, satin bow ties. They were so cute, and they sound good. But that was one microphone distant away from him. It's not the best. It wasn't exactly a recording studio.
Right.
But it was great.
You get the idea of it and go, hey, I want to hear more.
Sweet, yeah. So here we go. All right, follow along with me, kids, if you want to change your Facebook settings. And I'll also show you how you can delete Facebook entirely. Because frankly, I would love to not be on Facebook, but I can't. I need to because this is how I talk to fans. It's how and if I couldn't show you what I'm about to show you, if I weren't on Facebook, I need to know how it works. So here we are on the Facebook page. Are you on your Facebook homepage? You see your name in the left and a little padlock next to it. That padlock is where all the settings live. Who'd know that? I don't know. And you see your privacy shortcuts. The privacy shortcuts are not what you need. Who can see my stuff? Who can contact me? How do I stop someone from bothering me? They're useful, but they're not very granular. They're what Facebook did to simplify this. But unfortunately, it's not going to help you with this particular thing that we want to talk about. For that, you want to close that box that's popped up there. See more settings. Click that box. And the more settings will show you the critical thing, which is ads. You want to click that ads button. This is what we've been talking about. This is the thing they changed their policy on. And there's two chunks here. Ads and friends. They say it so cheerfully. Everyone wants to know what their friends like. That's why we pair ads and friends. An easy way to find products and services you're interested in based on what your friends share and like. Another way to say it is, we're going to use your name and likeness to advertise products to your friends. So if you don't like that, click the edit button. And there really are only two choices. There is pair my social action with ads for only my friends. That's good. It's only people you know that you've befriended, or no one. I chose no one. I don't want my name and likeness used for an ad without my knowledge ever. There's one in here that's kind of interesting. It says third-party sites. Facebook doesn't give third-party applications or ad networks the right to use your name and picture in ads. In other words, what happens is they sell an ad to an ad network. They sell an ad for Depends. And they don't say anything about who's going to be endorsing it. But what they do behind the scenes without the advertisers informing the advertiser is they pair me up with that ad. Leo Laporte recommends adult diapers. Now, Depends doesn't know that. Procter & Gamble doesn't know that, but my friends see that ad. And Procter & Gamble's purchased that. They say, yeah. When anybody likes us, make sure that's their picture and their name are put on our ad. So that's what they're saying is, we don't give them the right to use your name. We just do it for them. If we would, in the future, allow them to use your name or picture in ads, the setting you choose will determine how the information is used. You've got to change this now. You've got to change this now. They're saying, we don't do it now, but just in case. So maybe this would be a good time. It's set to only my friends. Set it to no one and save those changes.
I love you, man.
See, now no one's going to see your name, or I think. This is the problem. I only think this will work.
You are worth your weight in gold. I just did everything along with you.
It's not a bad idea, as confusing it is to go through all of these settings and make sure, not the big high-level ones that they offer at first, but make sure in each area that you've gone through it. There's a few other things you might want to turn on. I like to have on. In the security settings, there's two things I turn on. One is login notifications. That'll let me know when somebody logs into my Facebook account on a new device. And then login approvals. That makes this a little more complicated, but I do this. A security code is required when logging in from a new device or an unknown browser on an old device. What that means, it'll say, well, you can't use this phone or new computer until you verify your identity by either running the code generator on a Facebook app or getting a text message sent to your phone of record. To make this work properly, you'll need to tie in a cell phone number to your Facebook account. But I like this. This is what we call two-factor authentication. You cannot log in to Facebook with just your password the first time. The first time you log into Facebook on a new device, you'll have to give it an additional code that says, yeah, I'm me. And by doing that, you prevent bad guys from getting onto your Facebook account. That's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. So I turn on code generator and so forth. This makes it very complicated, but it does give you more security. And if you want to protect your Facebook account, this is a good idea. They get hacked frequently, so it's not a bad idea. Then there's more. There's privacy settings, which are complicated and odd, and this will take an evening going through all of this. But if you want to use Facebook, and I don't blame you if you do, you want to make sure that you check those settings, that it's doing with your information what you think it is. And understand that it's a free service. In order to use this free service, to store your photos, to contact friends, you're giving them information, and they're going to use your information for advertising. That's how they make their money. And it's a good idea to make sure you got those settings the way you want. And if you don't need Facebook, don't use it. I understand why people use it. My son, who just went off to college, was in contact with his college roommate all summer. His college mates from London, England, and they were able to get to know one another. My daughter stays in touch with high school friends, college friends that she hasn't seen in months. Family members could see pictures of each other. To me, the value of Facebook is you can stay in touch with people without actually calling them or being really in touch, right? You can have a casual keep up with somebody. You don't necessarily want to call that high school friend every week or every month or even every year, but you can kind of see what's going on just by looking on Facebook. I think it's very valuable, and there's lots of good uses for Facebook. But please, if you're going to use it, understand that what you're giving them essentially is not going to be private. I would assume that anything you give them, pictures, anything you post, is not private. I would certainly be very cautious about posting pictures of your friends. I wish kids understood this better. One of the things people do on Facebook, what kids do on Facebook, with Instagram, with Vine, with Snapchat, with other programs, is they take pictures of their friends in compromising situations and post them. And sometimes even tag them, and not understanding that makes that visible to others, future employers, parents, spouses, future spouses, former spouses. You got to be a little careful. Consider other people's privacy as well as your own when you're using Facebook. I think that seems to be the least you can do. All right, we're going to go to the phones in just a bit. 8888 Ask Leo. I will put this information on our website, techguylabs.com. In fact, we'll make it the tip of the week on how to protect yourself. And we'll even post that email. You probably got it. I think everybody who has Facebook got this email from Facebook that sort of explains what they're doing. I think it's a little clearer right now. They want to use your picture and your name in advertising. Why? Well, it's really effective. It's really effective. If you see Leo Laporte recommends Sony gear, you might very well consider buying it because of that. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Your calls coming up. Okay, enough of that Facebook stuff. We don't need it anymore. Sometimes I should explain to our geeky home listeners that the radio show has a somewhat different audience from the rest of the Twit network. And so sometimes, I got an email from somebody today saying, why are you recommending Microsoft's BitLocker disk encryption? You should recommend something better like TrueCrypt, which I agree is better. But you have to understand, for the radio show audience, setting up TrueCrypt is not going to happen. Whereas they might well use something easy that's built into the operating system called BitLocker. So the recommendations I might give on Security Now, for instance, or another one of our podcasts, which are aimed at hardcore geeks, will often differ. I probably wouldn't spend time talking about Facebook on Twit. I'm going to assume that people who are hardcore either don't have Facebook or know what they're doing with Facebook. But I would spend a lot of time talking about it, as I just did, for the radio audience, because we're talking to normal people. This is for normals, as opposed to you guys, you hardcore types. You are not normal. You are not normal. Oh, that's interesting. Travel RAM. I'm going to look at that. The STEM crisis is a myth, said 15 male engineers.
Forget the dire predictions of a looming shortfall. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, first you have to get them, explain to them that SSDs can't be erased. And then you have to turn on encryption, which is better than nothing. Yes, errors. I'm very excited about my trip. This all happened at once. You know, the trip I planned a year ago. I ordered a new car in May. We've been looking at houses for a year. But unfortunately, all of it's happening within a week. I think we close in the house the day before we leave on the trip. And my new car is supposed to come that day also. Well, it's not exactly Christmas because I don't think I could pick up the car because I'm going to leave the car at the dealer, I guess.
Oh, do you need me to do that for you?
Would you like to? You need a car. You need a car. Have you got a car yet, or are you still driving the rental?
I'm really close. I'm driving Mom's Prius.
Oh, that's nice of Mom. I saw that picture you posted of your mom and dad at Iowa. So cute.
God, they're adorable.
And they're celebrating their 50th? Mm-hmm. Isn't that sweet? I had hoped that I could keep a marriage alive that long, but I think it's over. I don't think I have a chance. I don't even have 50 more years in me.
Well, you won't live that long.
Yeah, precisely.
But I've said the same thing. I'm like, if I ever get married, it'll only last 10 or 20 years, which is great. Shorter shelf life equals better, right?
Yeah, I think really admire people who can keep a marriage going more than 20 years. That's a long ass time.
You have your lulls, I think, and fights and stuff like that.
We're not supposed to live this long.
Right. But to have stayed through.
So I'm so impressed by your parents. 50 years is so amazing. And they love each other still?
Yeah.
That's neat. I think if you make it past a certain point, then you can,
because you feel like you've done the kid thing and you've gone through the world together and we did this and that and now we're retired.
I couldn't make it past the kids leaving. That was it.
Oh.
I know, it's sad. It's a great regret.
They hike, they golf, they just freaking love life. And they put up with me.
This goes down in a list of songs that have been ruined for me by television shows or advertising. We Didn't Start the Fire.
What show is it in?
The Office, where Big Tuna burns his grilled cheese in the toaster oven or so. No, the kid, Ryan, does, and then they won't let him forget it ever. There are songs, don't you know, like, now you're too young to remember this, but the William Tell Overture was used as a cigarette advertisement jingle. So every time I hear da-da-dum, 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 dum-bum. Now,
you want to smoke.
Some people will say, oh, Lone Ranger, and that was the first thing. But then it was, have a lark, have a lark, have a lark today.
Oh. Surprised that wasn't in Mad Men.
Whenever I hear the beautiful Rodeo, Aaron Copland's amazing ode to the great American West, I think beef. It's what's for dinner. There's so many things that just have been ruined by pop culture. I should make a list. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. That's what pop culture's for. Giving you new memories all the time. Bob I can't think of twerk without thinking of Miley Cyrus now. It's completely ruined. Bob in Rutland, Maine, or Mass, or somewhere with an M. Hi, Bob. It's Rutland, Mass. Is that right?
Hello?
Hey, Bob. Welcome to the show. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. Actually, I'm calling to I've been looking into security cameras, outdoor and indoor, that could be viewed over a smartphone and over the internet. And there's so many different brands out there. I've been going in circles, researching them over the internet and trying to figure out which ones would suit my needs and which ones would be pretty straightforward and for night vision as well. There's so many different brands out there. I've been looking at D-Link, looking at Foscam, and some of them are rated for outdoor and some are not. So I guess
it's complicated, isn't it? And there are a lot of choices, and many of which are quite good. I'll give you a couple of names. The one thing I would mention that is fairly important is make sure, check security. If, on a camera that's put on the internet, we've seen this with some of them, security researchers have found flaws in the security in these cameras, and people have been able to just go online and look at your camera. Now, you might not care if it's pointed at the bushes in your backyard. You might care a lot if it's in your bedroom.
True.
So I would be a little aware of that. Before you buy any camera, just do a search for security issues and things. The word that we like to use is exploits, where somebody can exploit the software on the camera to take a look at what you're up to. So that's one of the things I'd be aware of. I'm going to give you a few recommendations, cameras that I've used that I like. We have cameras in our studio from a company called Dropcam that I really like. Dropcam.com. Now, they all have different features. You want presumably you want Wi-Fi, right?
Right.
Yeah. And presumably you do want some that are outdoor capable. In some cases, you may not have the ability to put power out there. I don't know if you do or not. If you want totally wireless, there's a company, they were an advertiser for a long time, Netgear bought them, called ViewZone, that are completely wireless. They're battery-driven. And they have indoor and outdoor. That advantage of this is you can put them anywhere. I mean, you could stick them on the wall. You can stick them anywhere. The disadvantage is because it's battery-driven, it's not constantly on. It's only on when you access it. So that may not be a bad thing. It just means that you can set it up for motion. So, of course, that'll kill the battery if there's a lot of motion. But this is a fairly inexpensive, and this is a nice system for people who want no wires at all and who don't need a full-time view. Dropcam will give you a full-time view. In fact, Dropcam will record the video that's coming from the camera for a monthly fee on their servers, which means you can go back in time. We had a Dropcam server set up in our studio, and somebody in the chat room said, hey, a couple of days ago, Roger stumbled and fell into the can of paint. And I thought, oh, that'd be funny. Let's see if we can find that. We were able to go back in the Dropcam and find it and watch it. Poor Roger. So this is interesting. Now, this needs a wire, and it does use a lot of bandwidth. That's one of the problems we've had with Dropcams is they have a high-def version that will use as much as a megabit a second. Could swamp your internet access. Now, if it's a vacation home, you may not care, right?
Okay.
This company, here's another one. I'm not done yet.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Foscam is fine, and this is a company called Axis that does one more thing that you might want. These are Wi-Fi enabled wireless cameras, but they are pan, tilt, zoom. That means you can control them remotely. So sometimes you want the ability to aim a camera. What's going on over there? Zzz. And you can do that over the internet. So Axis, AXIS. These are three companies I've used their cameras, worked with them, and like them, and had great results.
Okay, I'll check those out. And Axis, I'll take a look at them.
Yeah, Foscam has the pan tilt zoom as well. I just haven't used it, so I'm going by the chat room, which likes Foscam a lot.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Some good suggestions there. There are also, I should point out, really good websites that sell them all. That's kind of maybe what you want, is a website that you can say, oh, well, tell me everything about these. I've seen a number of surveillance camera sites. Let's collect this on the chat room. I don't know which one to recommend, but if there's a good place to go, like a marketplace of surveillance cameras that sells multiple brands that you could maybe go and compare, why don't you let us know at the website, techguylabs.com. This is episode 1010. So you can go to techguylabs.com, pick that episode, pick this question, and add in the comments. Squids in his chat room says, my Foscam survived Sandy. That's pretty good recommendation. Hurricane Sandy did not knock it out. That's pretty good recommendation. So any experiences you've had with other cameras? I've used the three that I mentioned and had good results. But you notice there's different capabilities, different prices too, depending on what you need. Andrew in Rochester, Michigan. Hi, Andrew. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
Hey, welcome.
It's great to see that I finally got on. I have a question about getting a new HD TV, and I was looking for one with a low input lag because I'm a gamer.
Yeah.
Especially for like the older consoles that use like the RCA jacks. Those usually, even when you put it on game mode, it seems there's some noticeable lag on there.
So
And
what do you have, an old Super Nintendo? What do you...
well, just like, like PS2 and Xbox, those older
okay,
ones.
you want to keep those old ones alive, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me talk about what you're looking at is called, well, there's a number of factors, but the key one is response time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the amount of time it takes for a single dot on the screen, a pixel or a picture element, to go from all the way off to all the way on to all the way off again. On the old style TV sets, the cathode ray tubes, that was virtually zero, instant. And that's why gaming is still best on a cathode ray tube. LCDs, liquid crystal displays, it's a lot slower, on the order of milliseconds, maybe 9 milliseconds. Older LCDs were even worse. They've gotten better. Now they're down to maybe 4 milliseconds. Even that's still noticeable. What it does is it gives you motion blur. It makes action look blurry. Now, when in gaming, that's not necessarily a problem. That's more an aesthetic thing. More of a problem is lag or latency. Is that what you're talking about?
Right.
Yeah. See, that's an issue.
Yeah.
That's a separate issue than the monitor itself. That's more about the connection to the monitor, and that one. Hold on a second. Let's see if we can talk about that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, so input lag is a whole different fish. If you're running a small business...
I don't know if you would have fun with this because it's so archaic, but so this older man's on the line and he knows what an iPhone 5 is and it sounds like he's getting one, but he's wondering where you might find a good instruction book.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good. I'll talk to him. I'd love to do that.
It's so precious.
There are books.
Oh my God. You're going to ask him your question.
Hello, it's Bro Code. Hi, Bro Code. You know that we played your song on KFI in Los Angeles and 200 other stations around the country, and I said Bro Code, and we played the Money song. Nathan captured it and played it back as our bumper music, yeah. So expect a check from ASCAP BMI. No.
Your website's down, too.
The website's completely dead. That's great. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's probably not as important as playing for Sting, but it's something anyway.
We talked to our mom. She manages us.
Yeah?
She,
Did she travel with you in L.A. or does she live in Portland?
she travels with us, yes.
My God.
Yeah.
It's like the Partridge Family.
So basically what she did this morning was she parked over next to the gas station and then drove us by this morning. Said,
Oh, so
20 minutes to get ready.
cute.
Yes.
Oh, so cute.
And then, so the last song we played was Carpe Diem, and we're actually...
You're releasing that one.
His voice was cracking a little...
You want to do it again?
No, we have the single.
Oh, you have the single.
In a couple weeks.
Okay.
She thought it might be a good idea if we could release it on your show.
Sure.
If you're cool with that. Yeah,
Sure.
cool.
Why not? You'll call me. Just call me and we'll play it. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to be here for that. You can call on the phone. Yeah. Deal. I'll download it and we'll play it, or Nathan will download it. We'll play it. Yeah. No problem. Mom. What's your mom's name? Sonny? Sonny, you're a good manager. Who was the other band? I just saw a really good documentary on, they did, was it Crimson and Clover?
The Cowsills?
Cowsills. Have you seen that movie yet?
Yes.
Holy moly.
That is so amazing.
Isn't it an amazing documentary?
You know who I got it from?
Who?
Is Kim Wonderly owns it.
Yeah.
And she's all over it. She can watch it, you know.
It's on Netflix, I
Oh, it
think.
is? Okay.
Yeah, I watched it somewhere. Yeah, I think I watched it on Netflix. And boy, that was an
you knew
example.
about them back in the day, right?
Well, I was a DJ when they had
Oh,
hits,
duh.
yeah.
Because Kim was like a huge fan.
Crimson,
You know,
I've
the
played
bass
Crimson
player.
and Clover for sure.
So whether you know this band or not, it's a great
You'll
music
recognize their
documentary.
music. You'll recognize their music.
Yeah.
But it's a really tragic story.
Oh, it's an unbelievable. It's got so many levels and tiers, and there's so many family members, and there's psychoses, and they were the model for the Partridge Family in a way.
They were the model for, yeah. Yeah. In fact, they considered briefly casting them as the Partridge Family.
They
And then
almost played
thought-
themselves
they
in the
almost played
television
themselves,
hit.
and then they thought we better get some actual actors. But their mom kind of managed the thing. The problem was their dad, who was kind of crazy. But their mom, he was military and very a strict disciplinarian, and it was kind of like the Jackson 5's dad. It was very very punitive and
It's so
demanding.
great also because there's actually so much material to make a documentary out of.
Yeah,
Had it been a
there's a lot
family
of
just
video.
prior to that, there just
Yeah.
wouldn't have been enough
Yeah.
pictures and archival
No,
footage.
yeah.
But they were on Ed Sullivan's show, right? At least once.
Oh yeah.
And then Dad messed it up. And
See if I can find it.
Companies we have left
There's the mom.
MGM, and we're going to have a new single.
And so
out
this,
in
they,
November with another
the dad
recording
forced them to bring the
We heard
sister
about
on the
this
road.
song,
It was
the
just the
title,
three
which is
boys.
64. You want to tell about it?
The Beatles did it.
We're talking about two different things when we're talking about gaming on a TV. There's response of the screen, response time on the screen, and that has to do with more aesthetics, with blur and so forth, as I was talking about. But I gather, Andrew, you're more worried about lag, and one wouldn't think there'd be much lag, speed of light and all, but there is, and that's because the TV is processing the image. So if you can turn off processing, the image quality may go down. I don't think it will. It won't smooth out, won't do any anti-aliasing. You'll get the raw image out of the game machine, but you'll get a much better performance. Now, the chat room's giving me a link, which is great, from, I love the name, displaylag.com. And they're talking about lag as opposed to response time. So I would go, before you buy a screen, I would go look at the input lag. And yeah, you see 9 milliseconds. Excellent is considered 9 milliseconds. That's long. That's enough that if a player moves and you don't see that move for 9 milliseconds and then you shoot at him, you miss him. Maybe. So, but there is always a certain amount of lag, and it looks like IPS screens from Asus and LG are the best. But they've rated all of them. This is a good little database. It's a display.
So are those more monitors that are the top ones then?
These are, it says monitors and TV, the HDTV and monitor input lag database.
Okay.
And they have a whole article, best HD TVs for gaming. So I would probably go there. That's good. Thank you, chat room.
Okay.
They say the best HD TV overall is the Sony KDL 55W900A.
Okay.
And that,
I was also looking for a bigger screen too. I have a 32-inch right now, an LG. So.
Yeah. I have the new, very fancy, expensive TV I just bought, the OLED TV from Samsung. Actually has a gaming mode in which you turn off all processing. They say, this will speed things up, but will, reduce the quality of the image.
Actually, I have something like that on my TV as well.
Yeah.
A game picture mode.
Right.
That does that, I think. But sometimes that still, there's a little bit left over.
Well, that's the thing. I think there's always a certain amount of lag because it's got to come in and be processed and put up on the screen. So anyway, this is certainly a place to go, displaylag.com. What I can't tell you is if they're completely independent. Who knows? Sometimes you see this stuff and you find out later that Sony was paying them. This is an expensive TV. It's it's $2,298. It's expensive. But he says blistering fast 19 millisecond input lag rating. Boy, that seems like a long time. Anyway, there's a place to go. Gamers are funny, this is a big deal. It's not purely aesthetic. In fact, they put up with lower frame rates, lower quality images, as long as they can get the lag down, because you're out there in combat in Call of Duty. You gotta be responsive. Our next caller of the day is Teresa in Long Beach. Hi, Teresa. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. Good to speak to you. Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks for calling.
I have an iMac, and I run iOS and Windows on it through Parallels. And so it's kind of new to me. Do I need to have 2 carbonite, 1 for each side? And
Yeah,
2
yeah.
ESAT nods and 2...
Yeah. Unfortunately, you do. And it's because, well, you're running it through boot camp, or how are you doing it?
Parallels.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I apologize. So there's 2 ways to run Windows on a machine, both of which will work with Parallels. One is to use the Boot Camp Assistant built into the Macintosh to divide the hard drive and create a Windows install. That means when you reboot the machine, you can choose Mac or Windows. In that case, you would need separate everything. But if you're using just Parallels to run within OS X, so you've got the Macintosh running and you want to do Microsoft Word for Windows, you open it up and it's like another window on top of OS X. Is it like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you don't, because here's the deal with Carbonite. You'll make sure you have Carbonite, and you might have to do this manually in the settings. I don't think it does it automatically. Back up your virtual disk. So the way Parallels works is it creates a fairly large file, maybe 10 gigabytes, that is your Windows installation. If you back that up, you're backing up everything. Okay. And it's nice to do that because if something goes wrong, you just restore it and you're back to where you were. It's like a drive snapshot.
So I need to go back into Carbonite to
look in the settings. I'm not sure, because it's such a large file. Carbonite often does not back up super big files because they take so long to back up. So look and make sure it's backing it up. Now, as far as your antivirus, normally you certainly do want to run an antivirus on Windows. It's a little different when you're running Parallels, because if you get a virus, you just delete the partition and you start over again. Parallels allows you to make a snapshot of your partition as backup, which I would do. I would have a periodically make a copy, delete the old one, and keep a copy. And that way, if you get a virus, no problem. Turn on Windows' own antivirus protections.
Okay.
But I think you can be a little bit more casual when you're running Windows in Parallels, because it's so easy just to start over.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It will. I'll read the show notes.
Read it carefully. Parse it. Think about it. Yeah, the good news is that's the best way to run Windows, in my opinion. Best way to run Windows. It's not the fastest. If you're a gamer, of course, you're not going to run it like that.
No.
But from a point of view of security, from a point of view of security, it really is great. The viruses stay within the virtual disk image. They don't penetrate the membrane. If you get a virus, you don't have to reinstall Windows if you've made a snapshot. So make a snapshot. First thing you do, it's in the Parallels menu, make a snapshot. And that way you'll have a second copy, and you can easily just restore it. And that puts you back the way you were. It's really the easiest way to do everything.
Okay, great.
Right. Hey,
Thank
thanks
you.
for the call, Teresa. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Parallels, and another one for Mac is a VMware Fusion. Both let you run Windows on a Macintosh. If you have a Boot Camp partition, this is how I do it. I do install Windows using the Boot Camp Manager, Boot Camp Assistant that comes with OS X. So I have a full version of Windows. But you can still use Parallels or VMware Fusion to run it inside OS X without another install. That's nice. However, it doesn't have that virtual image capability, which is pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Dr. Mom points out that Carbonite might have a problem backing it up because of the 4 gig a day limit. It's true. If you change that file a lot, you won't get if it's backing it up, back it up once, I guess is what I would say. You don't have to keep backing it up. Or maybe even put it on another, a 16 gigabyte USB key is $10. Put it on a USB key, bring it to work. Maybe don't back it up online, just bring it to work. And that way you can restore, oh man, what happened? I got a virus. Quick, get the USB key, plug it in, restore it. You're back to normal. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Wah, 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 wah. Working in IT means constantly jumping. Oh, yes, I would like lunch. What could I have for lunch? Let me go look at Petaluma Market. Sorry, John. We'd already come back when you came in. Ooh, don't do that. Suck it out. That's the vacuum that Dick DiBartolo was testing that doesn't do anything. as seen on TV. Yes, the kids don't mind it because it does nothing. I would love, it's the same as yesterday. How about a medium clam chowder, sir?
Medium?
Yeah.
You got it.
I never drink the whole soup. Thank you.
Where do you get your clam chowder from?
Across the street has hot food. It's a good place for lunch. It's just the grocery store. Yeah, it's Petaluma Market.
Oh, the market.
Market. So I always get lunch there because it's easy. They just go and they put it in a tub and bring it back to me.
We're going over to Lagunitas later.
Oh, you must. Great music, great food, and the best beer. Really good beer.
Rushing River.
Russian River's good too. You're beer drinkers. You're in beer heaven, I'm told.
Wine heaven too.
Well, yeah, more wine. I'm a wine drinker, so in wine heaven as well. And food heaven. We have great food here. Yeah, no, Lagunitas. Save it for Lagunitas.
Who's going to Lagunitas? Yay!
Yeah,
We're
isn't
gonna
that
have so
fun?
much fun?
Have you been there?
I performed there.
What?
At that circus party they had a couple years ago. Well, they have it every year, but I performed once.
What did you do? Are you a trapeze artist?
We did like a circus act, and I was a tiger.
Who's we?
Me and some other girls.
Are you in a burlesque troupe?
I was at that moment.
What's your burlesque name?
I can't tell you. It's too embarrassing. But I signed up for a class again. I'm really excited.
Why
This
is it
time I'm
so
gonna
many
do
women in
can-can.
broadcasting are in burlesque troupes?
I don't know.
It's very
we
common.
don't get enough attention. But I'm going to do.
You do the
kicking,
can-can?
Kicking, yeah.
Exactly. Fun.
I haven't had. I don't know.
So were you? What? Tell me this about. Okay, this is bad. But tell me about this tiger outfit.
Go-go boots, tigery stuff, ears, of course.
Painted face.
What else did I have? Yeah, maybe a little whiskers.
Was it kind of revealing, this tiger outfit?
A little. What else did I have? I can't even remember.
Did you have a
now.
tail?
I think I wore a vest over it. Oh yeah, a tail for sure. Oh, this is great. I made a huge ball of yarn to play with.
Oh, how cute. Oh, that's great. I love that.
Yeah.
So you weren't a tiger, you were a house cat, really. You were a house cat that wished it were a tiger.
Exactly. Friendly tiger that wanted to be.
Friendly house cat that always wanted to be a tiger. Oh, you were a tiger that wanted to be a house cat.
Yes.
Big Gin says, I've gone to my happy place now.
Maybe I'll break that out for Halloween. Is Halloween on the weekend? We should wear costumes.
You're going to get me in so much trouble.
Sorry.
I'm trying to
I
be
shouldn't
good.
go there.
I'm trying to be good. Let me see. Halloween is coming. Why, it's only next month. No, it's a Thursday. Alas.
Well, we'll wear costumes the weekend before.
Should we do it weekend before? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Oh,
Steve C says he remembers it.
He's remembering the Cowsill song. It was the rain, the park, and something else, but it's that
In the
song
rain,
they
the
go-
park, and other things. Yeah. It wasn't Crimson Clover. That's right.
Right.
In the rain,
And
the park, and
they
other
go,
things.
You can make me happy,
Happy.
happy.
Flowers in the air, flowers everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, so cute. But it makes you think Crimson and Clover.
Yeah, they're all kind of the same crappy songs. Frankly.
Mean.
They did Hair. They had a very famous version of Hair. That was when they. If this were behind the music, that would be
Jumping the Shark.
Jumping the Shark, yeah.
The dad was upset about
Yeah.
it, wasn't he? He
Yeah.
didn't want them to go in that
No.
direction.
It was
The
them
kids
being
would have been
rebellious.
great without the dad.
The dad ruined it.
Yeah.
It's called Family Band.
Yeah.
By the way, is the name of the
What a
the
movie.
documentary. There's some. I'm really enjoying. There's a number of really good music documentaries.
Oh, they're always my favorite. I don't know.
Me
what it
too. I guess because we like music, but
Yeah.
me too. I really love the music documentaries.
is. Just great to hear what it takes
Yeah,
and what happened.
the behind the scenes
it.
stuff. Metallica's new documentary is coming out this week.
They have another documentary and none of them are dead. What's up with that?
I know. Actually, Some Kind of Monster was pretty good because it was during their. It was like it was a very tough time for the band. So.
Oh, they had that therapist and everything. I was
Yeah.
like, what a bunch
Yeah.
of babies
I
for
know.
making this hard rock. I mean, it was a little bit boring, but it was very. You were like, oh my god, what a bunch of girls
And
you
then
guys
when
are.
James slams the door.
Oh,
But my favorite part is when they hired the new bassist and they said, okay, you're going to be our new bassist, and we're just to get you started, we're giving you $1 million.
oh my god.
It was like, okay,
that part.
okay. Guess they got some money. James has a lot of different cars. He drives a variety of interesting automobiles.
Oh, yeah.
He's around
Does he
here.
live in San Rafael?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, they all live in the area. Kirk lives in San Francisco. Last time I checked, he lived
on Broadway.
On Broadway. And then
I think.
James lives like nearby, like Marin somewhere, yeah. And then Lars, I don't know. He's all over the place. I think he has a house in
And
the
you've
city.
seen Searching for Sugar Man, right?
Yes. Isn't that awesome?
See, and then you see a movie about how it didn't work out and you wonder why.
Right.
So interesting. The right mix and the right promotion and timing.
Song remains the same. Loved that one. Led Zeppelin. Sound City I haven't watched yet. I got to watch Sound City.
I haven't seen the Jeff Buckley movie yet.
Yeah, I like Jeff Buckley.
Loved him. Oh, but I watched, because you mentioned it yesterday, and I'm the biggest Ryan Gosling fan. House Beyond the Pines.
What did you
last
think?
night. Whoa.
Yeah.
And I so want to say something about it, but it gives it away.
Spoilers. Yeah, we'll talk off air. But very interesting. Not a great movie, but very interesting. You know, I saw last night that was a great movie is the new Woody Allen, Blue Jasmine. Lisa and I saw that. Very heavy. It is not a comedy.
Really?
Wow.
He hasn't done a heavy movie.
Kate Blanchett, Oscar-winning performance.
Oh, really?
Worth seeing it just for her performance. It's incredible.
What movie did she do? She played a horrible character, and Jack Swanson was like, "Have you seen that movie? She reminds me of you." And then I saw it.
Thank
and I
you,
was like,
Jack.
What are you talking about?
Thank you.
She's an idiot, and she
What's he
hangs out with
doing?
criminals.
What's he doing? Do you know?
I saw on Facebook that he was in London like 2 weeks ago, I want to say.
Did what's her name go with him?
I wasn't clear on that.
Melanie Morgan.
Do you know she's not at KSFO any longer?
No, huh?
I'm not sure exactly what happened there.
That's hard when you're in married and one of you gets fired from, and you work at the same place and one of you gets fired. It's hard.
Oh my God, let's talk
I've had that
here.
happen to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my first wife was in radio and she got fired at the station that I was working at.
I didn't know that.
This was many years ago.
Did she wait, I thought she was a therapist.
That's my second wife.
Oh, on number 3.
We're not on any wife right now.
Well, woman.
We're working on number 3.
Significant other.
Yeah, well, we're buying a house. We might as well be married. You can't get, that's more entangling.
Now.
Yeah, that's more
Just
entangling than
kidding,
getting
Lisa.
married. No, I am going in willingly.
Take me.
I'm excited. I'm thrilled. No, I'm very happy. Yeah, we'll probably get married just because it's, once you have a house together, you might as well.
2013. Don't do it.
The 6 Wives of Leo Laporte. It's a new movie on Showtime. Stay tuned. Oy. Oy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. This is the show where we talk about computers, the internet, smartphones, home theater. We don't talk about relationships. I know a lot about the technology. Don't know much about relationships. Don't ask me those questions. Not so good at that. We're just
Your
talking off the air.
relationship with technology.
That's
we
what
can
I'll talk
discuss.
about.
Or how technology can ruin relationships.
Another
That's
good
a whole
that I
nother
could talk
show.
about. 8888 Ask Leo. Heather Harmon.
And I'm using technology to perhaps get into a relationship.
Now, so you're using dating sites?
I have been.
Is there one that you think is good, and are there some better than others? And
You raise a really good issue. I'm about to leave OkCupid and go to Match.com again.
really, Match.com is expensive. I notice.
Oh,
well, there's a free version, but all of these they get you started for free. But if you really want to participate and so forth, it can be hundreds of dollars, right?
Ew.
Isn't OkCupid like that?
No, there's definitely freemium, and it's fine for me.
And you're going with the free version.
Yeah.
They substitute a picture of somebody else for you, though. You know that.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. 88. They have the standard picture. If you want your real picture, you need to pay $100. 88. No, I thought that was how it worked. Maybe not. 88.
What you pay for actually is to be hidden, so that people don't know that you look at them.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I'm like, who cares?
Who cares? Yeah. There's also specialty ones, right? There's like J-Date, which is if you're Jewish, you want to meet another nice Jewish girl or Jewish guy, you go to J-Date. There's
but people break the rules.
Yeah.
Chicks is on there all the time.
Yeah. Well, maybe you want a nice Jewish guy, and you don't, you don't need to be Jewish to be on JD. I don't know how that works actually.
Right, they don't seem to mind.
Somebody's mentioning Ashley Madison.
Oh, I would never do that.
What is that? That is like that's a little sleazy, right? What is it? It's like a beautiful women who want to meet.
Who wanna cheat.
Oh, really? There's another one that there was beautiful young women who want to meet very rich old guys. That's the one I was looking. Gold dig, probably.
What a world.
There's something for everyone on the internet. That's why we talk about it. Is it beautifulpeople.com? Is that what it is? Big change?
Hot or not?
Hot or not is not a dating
people.
site.
I think you're right.
Do you have to be beautiful to be on it?
Yeah, they'll kick you off if they don't think you're.
If you don't think you're attractive
enough.
Wow.
Maybe the rest of the people can vote you off the island or something.
What? Connect with beautiful men and women in your. If you're really shallow and you don't care
shallow.com.
how a person is, but you care how they look, this is the site for you. Meet real beautiful people who actually look in real life as they do online. And then you vote on a dating site where existing members hold the key to the door. So they vote you in. This is what the world has come to. And you know what? This site's been around for a decade.
Ugh.
This is what the world has come to, my friends.
I would love to just see the personalities of a few of those people. They're just got to be obnoxious off the charts.
We might as well just call it Meet a Narcissist. How about ugly people? That's the one I want to meet. Ugly people.
There is one of those.
Uglypeople.com?
It was started in England, I think.
Badteeth.com?
Yeah. It was like, look, we're not very good looking, but hey, maybe we'll, to just get away from all those
what a world.
people.
But the internet really gives people scope to be both the worst that they can be and the best that they can be.
Exactly.
And it's kind of fascinating to see. Wow. 8888 Ask Leo. I know, Big Ginge is in the chat room. He is in the UK, and he says we don't all have bad teeth. That was a bad joke, and I apologize. I know that dental health has really improved in the UK. 8888 Ask Leo. I'm going to just get in more trouble. I better take another call here. Yeah. Sundeep in Orlando, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Mr. Laporte. Thank you for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
I had a question regarding getting rid of data. I'm a physician, and I know you mentioned recently that you cannot erase, or it's very difficult to erase memory off of SSD drives. But I have we can access patient data by our cell phone, tablet, and by my laptop with SSD drives. So if I wanted to upgrade, how would I get rid of all that data?
Yeah. Isn't this concerning? Now, there's debate over this, and there are companies that actually they claim erasers for SSD drives. But my expert, who's Steve Gibson, who in my opinion knows more about hard drives than anybody alive, he wrote SpinRite, which has for years been the definitive hard drive maintenance utility. He says the nature of the it's called what is it called? Wear loading. I can't remember now the name. But in order to keep the hard drive, as you might know, solid state memory can only be read to and written from a certain number of times. So in order to maximize the lifespan of a solid state drive, a flash memory, they do something called wear leveling, which spreads the data out evenly over the drive. And you don't ever really erase the contents of an SSD drive, you just overwrite it. So because of wear leveling and because of the fact that you don't erase data, often unencrypted data is still there on the drive. Even if you've erased files, it doesn't erase them. So I've seen some programs that claim to do it. What Steve's recommendation is, before you use a solid-state drive, and this would include a smartphone, by the way, encrypt the drive. Use whole drive encryption. You can do that
afterwards.
Afterwards, he says it's too late.
So basically, I have to use the sledgehammer if I...
Yeah. Now, it is the case that as you continue to use the drive and write more data onto it, some of that unerased data will get overwritten, and over time, much of it will go away. But there's no guarantee you've got it all. So, you're of course you have to comply with HIPAA, and HIPAA has some very strict requirements about protecting patient records, as it should. But I doubt very much that the framers of HIPAA or anybody who's enforcing HIPAA has any idea what the implications of using solid state storage are.
Now, is this like when I access hospital records, we have to go through Citrix? Is that data?
No, because you're not saving, unless you save that data. If you're just viewing it using Citrix, you're using a VPN, Citrix is getting you in and you're looking at it, and the program you're using to look at it and the data still reside in the hospital's drive, you're fine.
Okay.
Unless it's caching it, but I don't believe it is. Now, if you have an iPhone or other smartphones, I know for the iPhone, it's very simple. It even says you can have this drive encrypted. Now, you can't use then a short 4-digit code to unlock it. You have to use a passphrase. It's going to be more tricksy to unlock it. But that's the solution, and I'm pretty sure Android does the same thing.
Okay. Can I ask one other quick question?
Yes.
I hear you all the time talk about calibrating TV. I'm going to be buying a new TV. Is that something that we can do ourselves, or do you have to hire somebody?
You can do a good amount of it yourself, starting very simply by taking it out of the dynamic or showroom mode and putting it in a movie mode. Your eyes at first will go, oh, this is awful. It's washed out. It's dark. But that's real. They have it set for when you get a TV home, they have it set for the showroom mode. It's very bright because it looks better in a bright showroom. But yes, then there's the next step, which is to buy a Blu-ray disc. There are a number of them. One of them that is very good is called Video Essentials. You can buy it on Amazon and others. It's not very expensive. This is Joe Kane's disc. Joe Kane is a legend in this business. And what Video Essentials does is it gives you some test patterns and some basic information about calibrating the display. Now, I have this, but a pro, somebody like Scott Wilkinson, will come in with hardware that'll measure screen colors, and he'll do a better job. It's a few $100. It's worth it if you really care. It does make a huge difference. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. After playing with my nice TV for a little bit, I realized calibration. I desperately need calibration. The way that Samsung ships it is really off. And there are so many settings. So you guys were right, though. There is that weird interpolation thing on there, and I turned that off, got rid of the plastic effect. So that is on there, and I don't think you need it. Yeah, the Spears Munsell. There's a ton of different discs. This is the one that I've used and a lot of people recommend is DVE, Digital Video Essentials. There's also Spears and Munsell. Disney has a disc. I don't know how good those are. This is the one I would get. This is from Joe Kane. But I don't think you can do as good a job as a professional can. They have They have equipment and they have training, and I think they're just going to do a better job for you. Yeah, I think it's probably the case that nobody can really comply with HIPAA. I'll tell you, the Scott Wilkinson calibrated my Panasonic Viera, and it made a huge difference. And if I got home and I thought, ooh, it's so muddy, but once I got used to it, it's clearly better. And now when I look at the OLED, I know it's wrong. For instance, it comes from the factory all messed up. You can put it in movie mode, and they have a home versus showroom mode. But then they've set it to a warm color temperature. They have cool, normal, warm 1, and warm 2. It's set to warm 2, which is very yellow. So I set that back to standard. That seemed to be better. But then there's color gamut, and there's a whole bunch of settings. There's literally dozens of settings on this TV. So it's got to be calibrated. And Scott's coming up to do that. Actually, I'm going to let Scott and Heron fight over it. Robert Heron wants to calibrate it, too. They're going to fight. We're going to videotape it, too. We're going to make videotape it. We're going to, I don't know, what do you call it? Record it on digital medium. we're gonna digitally record their fight, but they're gonna come over to my house and we're gonna have it. We'll make a Home Theater Geeks out of them calibrating it.
I just heard somebody say something like that in at the Acre coffee store.
What do you call it? Videotape
like,
it? That's wrong, obviously.
I was going to say record, but
I know. What do you call it? It is
we're
recording.
Going to commit it to
It is recording. I just
we're
think
going to digitally commit it.
Taping
to
it is
internet.
wrong.
Right. He didn't want to use the word tape.
Yeah, record is correct.
You know what one of my pet peeves is? People that say film all the time when they mean tape or record.
Right. I say film
only
a lot.
film is film.
Yeah, I know.
And it's people who work in TV.
Well, it's because we've been saying film for so long.
It's not film.
Film at 11. No, not film at 11. Hard drive at 11.
You know, the word that works in every case is shoot. That's what I really like. We're shooting.
A lot of photographers don't like to use the word shoot.
Because of the other meaning.
Yeah, I'll shoot a picture. And so they say, and they don't like take either because some people they take pictures from think they're taking something. Thank you. So they say make a picture.
I'm going to get a picture.
I worked with a National Geographic photographer who, oh my God, this guy's my idol. And he would always say, make a picture.
Or get a picture of you.
Nah, make. They don't want get or take either.
Because take I get because there's those Indians that think that their soul gets sucked out if you photograph them.
He said that's not uncommon that people feel like something's taken from them when you get a picture out of them. Capture, yeah.
But
make is good.
In the late 80s, probably when stuff was really going off in Compton, my brother and a friend started a production company called Drive-By Shooting.
No, not good. But a clever name. Actually, I kind of like it.
I thought it was wonderfully
just call it
cheeky.
DBS, you know.
There you go.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. You can't ruin this song. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Talking about tech, computers, the internet, home theater, all that jazz. Ann is in Woodland Hills, our next caller. Hi, Ann. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello. Hi, Leo.
Hi, Ann.
Thank you so much for taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
My dad listens to you all the time, and he loves your show. He wanted me to call in and ask you a question regarding our cell phone. We're just getting out of the 2-year plan we had with T-Mobile, and now they've changed the plan to a month-to-month. And when we first signed up with them about 2 years ago, my dad had found a great deal for a Samsung Galaxy S2 phone that came for free with the 2-year contract. And I wanted to find out from you, I know you give regarding phones, but now that we're not going to be under the 2-year contract, I really want to stay with T-Mobile, but I need a new phone. The Galaxy phone, the S2 I have, has not been working very well. In fact, I had some issues with it from the very beginning, but all in all, it has some great features like the screen size, and I use it primarily for texting, so that I like the keyboard and all that. Wanted to see if you knew of anything that you could do as a T-Mobile customer in terms of getting a good deal on a phone, and also what phones you would recommend.
So the first thing it's important to understand is these subsidized prices aren't the real price of the phone. What they're doing is saying, hey, come on, we'll give you a phone for free as long as you sign up for an $80 a month plan for 2 years. That means that you're spending, $2,000 for that phone, because you're committed to the 2-year plan, right? So what T-Mobile decided to do is, we're just going to, that's deceptive in effect. We're just going to charge the actual price for the phone. Actually, they don't but we'll get to that in a second. But the theory would be, we'll charge the actual price for the phone and then go month to month. You can quit anytime. You bought the phone, you own the phone.
Right.
And in the long run, if they and this is the key, if they reduce the cost of the monthly plan, you're probably out ahead. What T-Mobile did, though, they realized, nobody's going to buy phones. When they see the phone costs $600, they're going to go, so they won't be able to sell them. So what T-Mobile said is, all right, well, what we'll do is, and this is, I think, still more honest, we'll finance the phone. So we'll tell you, this is what the phone costs. This is the monthly, we'll spread out that cost over a period of months. So you'll pay an additional $20 a month or whatever for the phone. And then this is what your data is. And I think by doing that, they're making it very clear. Here's what your phone costs. Here's what your data costs. So I understand people are sensitive to the idea of paying a lot up front, you're paying it anyway. Now, here's what I would suggest. First of all, is look at the plans T-Mobile offers, and there's one that's sneaky that you can't find right away. So if you go to T-Mobile.com and you click Plans, and you scroll down a little bit, you'll see there's some pay-as-you-go plans. And here's the one I like. I bet you, as most young people, you don't spend a lot of time on the phone. You text and you use data, but you don't spend a lot of time with minutes, or do you? Do you use a lot of minutes every month?
Not really, no.
Would 100 minutes a month be enough for you? An hour and 40 minutes?
Would that include two other T-Mobile?
This is per person. This is per
like T-Mobile customers.
This is not shared. This is per person. But here's the deal: it's unlimited web, unlimited text, 100 minutes a month of talk for $30 a month. They bury this. They bury this because I don't think they want to sell it, but it is a great deal if you don't do a lot of talking.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're going to have to price the phone completely separately. That's a separate thing. But I bet you your data plan right now is $50, $60, $70 a month, right?
Right.
Yeah. So now you're saying, okay, $30 a month, plus I'm going to pay another $20 a month for the phone, and that total is still less. So the trick is to understand what T-Mobile's up to. They call themselves the unphone company, the uncarrier, because they have changed the way it works. And I don't think it's a bad idea, but I think it does scare people a little bit. I buy unlocked phones and then I just put a T-Mobile SIM in them. And that is pretty attractive to me because I own the phone. You do need a new phone. Tell your dad, I need a new phone. Leo says so. The Galaxy S2 is too old. You should probably get at least an S3, if not an S4. Okay.
Are you happy with the Samsung Galaxy phones? I know you've mentioned them before, but
they're okay. You know, I'm not. Yes, the Galaxy S4 has the best camera in bright light. It's a very powerful phone. They've junked it up with a lot of extra software. But that's all right. I mean, it's just, you're not going to use a lot of you're watching the way it's set up, you're watching a YouTube video. If you look away from it, the phone's looking at your eyes. If you look away from it, it pauses the video. How valuable is that? I don't think it's valuable at all. How much space on the phone does it take up? A lot. And there's dozens of features like that end up taking a lot of space. However, I do think the S4 is an excellent phone, especially since you're coming from an S2. You'll understand it right away. It'll feel very comfortable to you.
Okay.
And it's a big upgrade in terms of speed, and the camera's a big upgrade. I think it's nice. And then get the T-Mobile $30 a month plan, and maybe put Skype on there so that you can do Skype phone calls if you run out of minutes. And I think you're saving a lot of money.
That's a really great idea. Does the S4 lock up a lot where you have to shut it down? And
no, that was a big problem in earlier Android phones. The S2 was prone to that, a lot of crashes. The S4 does not. However, the one I had, and I'm going to get some more because I want to test this, because I think it was just the one I had. The one I had, when I launched the camera, half the time it would crash, and that's not good. But I think that was just the one I used. And I've not heard, maybe the chat room can help me. I've not heard of that happening to other people. So that sometimes happens. And if that happens, then you bring it back to T-Mobile and say, this crashes every time I take a picture. And they'll say, oh, okay, here's a new one.
Mm-hmm.
But the days of Android, and this happened with the S2. So in that era, Android crashed a lot. Not nearly the problem it used to be.
And I think I heard you mention a few weeks ago, you're using a phone now was it a Motorola phone?
Yeah, and that's available on T-Mobile too, the Moto X.
Moto X.
Love that phone.
Okay.
You might like it better. One of the problems with the Galaxy S4, it's a lot bigger in your hand. It's a 5-inch screen. The Moto X will feel more like your S2. It's smaller, more compact. Beautiful phone. I think they've done a great job. That's super reliable.
Oh,
that
great.
will never crash on you.
And you could use it with T-Mobile, or?
Yep.
Okay. Terrific.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
I'll give you one more thing if you want to buy a phone outright. Google has just dropped the price on their Nexus 4. by $100, which tells me probably that they're going to replace it. But even though it's still a great phone, and it is now the least expensive phone out there, it is $200 for an excellent 8 GB Google phone, the Nexus 4. So you can run that on T-Mobile too, but you'd have to buy that from play.google.com. Just drop the price. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, I think that S4 was my S4 was bad. This is an amazing price. But I think the S4 has a better camera. Hello, Burke. Say again? Oh, no, he said he's not going to be here, yeah. I believe that's what he said, yes. Yeah, right after I bought one, too, but I think there's a way you can get your money out of them. I can't remember. Somebody told me that. I would still go, I would get the 16 gig, by the way, if you're still listening. Yeah, this is unlocked. It's a great little phone. S4 has a much better camera. The camera on the Nexus 4 is very mediocre. It's not bad. It's just not great. S4 is an amazing camera. In bright light. In low light, the HTC One is a better choice. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. As long as we're talking phones, all right. Let's mention that everything's going to change in about 2 weeks because there's some big announcements coming. So in a couple of days, September 4th, the reason for all this, by the way, is IFA, which is a big conference in Berlin. It's one of the oldest tech conferences ever. It goes back to the 1930s, because it was a radio conference. IFA stands for Internationale Funkausstellung Berlin, the International Radio Exposition in Berlin. And so it still goes on, but it now happens to be a lot more about smartphones than about radios. I don't think anybody's announcing new radios this year. Oh, the new Samsung Telefunken 5 with smart screen. I don't think so. No. Because you know why? I'll tell you why. Radio technology is perfect. It is mature. We've perfected it. We've ironed out all the wrinkles. Aren't you glad you don't have to buy a new radio every 2 years or every 6 months or every month? Yes. Your radio you've had for years works perfectly in high definition, crystal clear sound.
Yay.
Yay. And someday that will be the case for smartphones. But until then, we'll have the IFA conference and others like it. Mobile World Congress in Barcelona is another big one. Samsung will be at IFA announcing on September 4th the new Galaxy Note 3. Now, I got to tell you, as I was telling our caller, Samsung has really crufted up their phones. They've put a lot of stuff on them to make it seem somehow different or better than the other Android phones out there. And they're going to continue to move in this direction. It's pretty apparent. So expect the Note 3 to be bogged down with a lot of stuff you'll never use. The ability to wave your hand over the phone to pick it up or scroll through stuff. The ability to watch you looking at it. You can literally scroll a screen up or down by moving your eyeballs up or down. I tried it. I turned it on my Samsung Galaxy S4, and I got such a headache after a while. Going like up and down, up and down. It's good exercise for your eyeballs, but I don't think it's really how you want to do this. Galaxy Note 3. The Note is their big phone. The last Galaxy Note, the Note 2, was 5.5 inches. So, of course, this one's got to be bigger. According to rumors, 5.7 inches. They can't go too fast; they'd run out of inches. So it's going to be a couple of tenths of an inch every time. Quad core, very fast, 2.3 gigahertz processor. Holy moly! What do you need that in a phone for? Four 2.3 gigahertz cores, or if you get the European version, 8 cores, 8 processors. They'll have the same 13 megapixel cameras in the Galaxy S4. It'll have 3 gigabytes of RAM, not 2. We'll be running the latest version of Android. And because it's so big, it can have a very big battery. So these phones tend to have good battery life, like a full day. And the S Pen, the stylus that Samsung puts in all of its notes. That's what we hear. Anyway, and that'll be September 4th. So if you're a big phone fan, which I am, you can look at that. I still like the HTC One. I think it's great. The Moto X is now at Verizon and AT&T. T-Mobile's not going to sell it directly, but I understand you can get it for T-Mobile. I'm not sure how. I guess online. And I think that's a great phone. It's kind of the opposite, the antithesis of the Note 3. It's smaller, 4.7 inches, lower screen resolution, only 720p. It's more unobtrusive, and yet very capable, and has some features no other phone has. It can tell, when you're within range of a trusted Bluetooth device, and you set those up, it'll unlock automatically. It'll say, oh yeah, you're at home, that's fine. Or you're in the car, that's fine, I won't lock up. And that's good because when it's unlocked, you can talk to it. You don't have to touch it. You just say, okay, Google now, and the phone wakes up. It's kind of fun, too, because the camera, you don't even have to have a camera icon. I took mine off of the Moto X because I just flipped my wrist 3 times. And the camera pops up, and you can take a picture within seconds. Sony has some great phones, too. Somebody in the chat room is mentioning the Xperia Z. Those new Sony phones are great. I'm not crazy about the Sony software, but they're very nice, very thin, beautiful phones. Let's not forget the LG Optimus G2, which is another big screen phone that should be emerging soon. It's been announced. People have seen it. Super thin. So thin that they have to put the switches on the back. And the screen goes almost all the way to the edges. It's a really beautiful phone. 5.2 inches. Big seems to be in, although both Samsung and HTC have made mini versions of their top-of-the-line phones. There's a Galaxy S4 Mini, and there's a HTC One Mini. They're not so much smaller. It's kind of like a lady's watch versus a man's watch, just a little more petite, a little more elegant, a little more mini. Oh, yeah, then there's some company, what is it, coming up with a phone? September 10th, there's some big announcement that's fruit. It's named after a fruit. Oh, Apple, that's it. The iPhone 5, whatever, will be coming out September 10th. We know nothing about that because Apple doesn't talk. But the rumors are there'll be 2 new iPhones, a 5C, which will be an upgrade on the current 5. It'll come in black, white, and champagne gold. Yes, I'm not kidding. You're clapping, Heather. You want champagne? Yeah.
Yes, please.
So do I. I figured out why they do that. It's because the problem when these are every other year Apple updates the phone, but not the hardware. They don't change how it looks, and so nobody knows you've got the new iPhone. So that's why they have a gold color now. Oh, you must have the new iPhone. Yes, I do. That's good for about a week.
Here I am, thief, with the newest version.
Well, now, and this is interesting if this is true. This will help you in that regard. They're going to put a thumbprint reader in the 5C so you can lock it so that even if it's stolen, only you can open it.
Aha.
With your thumb, unless they steal your thumb, too.
Oh, no.
Ooh,
Why
no.
did you put
That's
that
not gonna
idea
happen.
in the criminal's head?
They may do that, but it won't. Criminal, it won't work, okay? Just so you know. Because it senses the heat in your thumb, too, not just the fingerprint. So you're going to have to take the... Never mind. I'm not going to give them tips or hints.
What
They'll
movie was that?
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, I know.
Ralphie, they cut off my thumb.
Yeah. So that'll be the... I'm sorry, that's the 5S. The 5C, we think, will be a less expensive, although not cheap, iPhone 5, and that will come in multiple colors besides gold, black, and white. Other colors, too. Plum. Mauve. Raspberry. I don't know what colors. Some nice color. And so, we don't know all the details, but that's going to be announced on the 10th, and everybody seems to agree that Apple will have that in stores within 5 days. They announce on Tuesday, they'll probably have it in stores by Friday. So get ready for an iPhone, a new iPhone. Those are all the new phones I know about, but I'm sure there are others too. It is a very hot category. Why is it so crazy? Well, people are buying them, But also, this is like the early days of PCs, where there were lots of iterations, lots of companies doing lots of different kinds of things. PCs have slowed down. The new hotness, because this is where all the innovation is happening, is in this PC in your pocket. It's not a phone, really. Let's face it. It's a computer in your pocket that has telephone capabilities, but so many other things. It's your camera, it's your music player, it's your database, it's your internet access, it's everything. And that's I think it's an exciting category. I'm not surprised people are putting a lot of energy into it. And if you look how much money companies like Samsung and Apple are making on it, that's the other reason. 8888 Ask Leo. Stan is in Woodland Hills, California. Hi, Stan. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Good afternoon, Leo.
Good afternoon, Stan.
Leo, we have a little problem at home in that my wife's birthday about a month ago.
I told you I can't help you with relationship advice. No, I'm just kidding, Stan. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We have to take a break for the network, but we'll be back in just a minute. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, and we'll get right to your call.
Okay.
That is a fast brain you got on your head.
What?
The tech guy here to tell you about a
the
brand
call back
new
to
feature for
relationship
ring
stuff. Whew, you are
Stan, I can't help you with that.
I told you.
How long you been married, Stan? I can't help you.
This is a relationship killer, I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, don't fight over the phone. Never go to bed angry. Never fight over the phone.
List off the top 5.
I could give you, here's one. I finally realized every time I was talking on the cell phone with somebody of the female persuasion, I'd get in a fight.
Because you couldn't hear?
It was something stressful. Yeah, I think it's because of the lag. And I would just get more and more stressed out, and I would always get into fights. So I told Lisa, I'm not talking to you on the cell phone anymore.
Interesting.
But then we start texting, and then there's a lot of nuance, and that's worse. So basically, he said, if you're not in the same space as me, forget it.
Maybe you need to try FaceTime.
We actually have done that, and that works pretty well.
Okay.
But I get very stressed and ultimately get angry because of the problems with like lag or they can't hear me, all that stuff. It raises my blood pressure so quickly. So it's just, for some reason, that's just a hot button for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I think of you as so mellow.
Oh, yeah, I'm mellow, mister.
It's trippy, though. But yeah, I had this guy who would just always text me, and it was just the stupidest texts, but maybe they weren't, but it was just because I couldn't see his dumb face.
Was that you who was, or was that somebody else? Just met somebody, and they were texting you a lot. Was that you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. How did that work out? Okay, never mind. We won't say anything. You might be listening. Old geezer from Tennessee says, my wife and I were married for over 15 years. We never had a single fight. It was always her fault.
Oh.
God.
So then. Oh, I can't wait to talk to Stan, though.
This is good. This is the one you're talking about.
Hey, speaking of, are you the one that told me about? I just finally watched the Blurred Lines video the other day.
Which one? The sexy one? There's an explicit one and there's a non-explicit one.
I think
the one with nudity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What the?
I was like,
whoa. But it does explain what Miley Cyrus was doing, because she had that pointer hand that was in the video, and the whole flesh-colored bikini was her callback. You see what I'm saying? And he was wearing the stripes. Oh, actually, that was from another video. The Beetlejuice suit was from the video he did before.
Oh, I'm getting confused. But
yeah,
I had heard racy, I guess, and I'm like, well,
no,
racy to other people
I was
is nothing to me.
surprised.
And I
thought I didn't think you could do that on Vivo.
I hit play, and I'm immediately you
immediately
see
starts. Well, you get the idea what's going
full
on.
Yeah, and so it blew me away.
I had to watch it 3 or 4 times before I really understood what was going on.
Yeah. That one girl with the brunette is so funny. Like, she's super cheeky, and she just makes me laugh because, I don't know, she does some really funny stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, my God. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
And then I have a friend who's like, "Oh my God, just think of all the kids that can watch this." Even though you have to sign in and go,
You know
"Oh
what?
yeah, I'm
It's
18."
just boobs, and
I
kids
know.
have seen them in many cases up close for years. I don't know. I think we're so big on hiding nudity from kids. That's not the problem. I think violence is the problem.
Well, I agree.
Exploitation is the problem.
See, to me, I'm like, it's all good, clean, squeaky fun.
Well, it's not that squeaky.
Well, right.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. We were talking to Stan. All I got out of him was it was his wife's birthday. Go ahead, Stan. I'm sorry I had to cut you off there.
Well, my wife was given an i5, an Apple i5.
An iPhone 5.
The iPhone 5.
Okay.
Yeah. And we don't have a computer in our home. And all of a sudden we get this. And
thanks a lot. Well, now, guess what? You do have a computer in your home, Stan.
I understand that. Now, the information that came with it was just like a big brochure, assuming that anybody who bought the i5 had been through i4 and i3 and so on. But if you haven't had any of that, you need more information. So we went to Barnes & Noble, and there are whole sections on iPhones. And even one book, i5 for seniors. And, of course, we happen to be seniors, so I'm wondering if we would like your opinion on what would be a good starter book to be able to get all the information we need.
There are good books out there, Stan. You might want to go to an Apple store. Woodland Hills has an Apple store, I'm pretty sure.
That's correct, yes.
And they have something that's really great called One-to-One, where an Apple genius... They're not really geniuses. That's just their brand. The Apple genius will sit down with you and your wife, literally one-on-one, and show you how to use it. Now, I think that's a really great way to start. So go down to the Apple store and ask them about their one-to-one training. Okay?
Okay, that sounds good.
I think, personally, that's the best training. But, everybody learns differently. Some people need a book. Some people want to be shown, and so you kind of have to know what... works best for you. My friend David Pogue has written a great book that but this is old now. Shoot. It was called iPhone, The Missing Manual, but I don't know. Let's see, 4th edition. Let's see what the most recent one he's published is. See, I think it's out of date. You're going to want to make sure that you find one that says the iPhone 5 on it.
Yes, I understand that.
That's a big problem with computer books these days, and one of the reasons the computer book industry is dying is technology moves much faster than publishers can.
Yes. Well, just as a little bit of background, the cell phone that I have been using for the past 10 and a half years, an SCP 6400.
All you had to say was 10 and a half years, Stan, and I get the picture.
It's a telephone.
It's a telephone. This is not a telephone. That's only a small part of what it does.
I understand.
It's really a pocket computer with always-on internet access. And that is actually very useful. Now, there's a couple of issues. If your eyesight's not great, that may be a problem because it's, as you've probably already seen, it's tiny.
Well, my wife's eyesight is very good.
All right.
She's 20/20, except in close she has to wear glasses.
Yeah. Good. Good.
When she had her eyes done, she wanted to be 20/20.
Oh, she got LASIK. Yeah.
And our ophthalmologist, who happens to be our son, says, let me adjust it. So, no. 20/20, and now she has to wear glasses.
She has to wear. That's why I didn't get LASIK, because exactly what happened. My ophthalmologist said, "Well, you still have to wear reading glasses." I said, "Well, what's the point?"
Yeah.
I mean, if she has good eyesight, then that's fine. And the keyboard, has she tried using that? Can she type on it successfully?
She has done a little of that.
Okay, those would be the things that would be unfixable. If you can't see the screen or you can't type on the keyboard, then it really isn't the right phone for you. But if you can use it mechanically, then I think it's just a matter of learning the ins and outs of it. It's one of the things that's neat about smartphones, smart devices, the touch interface is much more intuitive than computers were. It's just natural to touch stuff and to move it around, to zoom it and pinch it and all of that stuff. So once you get used to it, I have a feeling this might be a great choice for her. In fact, the next step might be to look at an iPad, which is a bigger screen and can do more, as your primary computer for email and web browsing.
Yes, well, our son and the family have iPads, and they have everything, all the electronics.
But that's good, because that means you can call them up. Not too much, but once in a while you can call them up and say, hey, can you help me figure this out? And if he's a nice son, and it sounds like he is, he can give you a little. You don't want to bug him, but my mom, everyone, I say once a month I'll give you 3 hours of support. Because otherwise I just tear my hair out if it's every minute. But I think you could figure it out. Now, how are you paying for this? Because remember, you're going to have a much higher phone bill all of a sudden.
Well, it's friends and family.
Oh, perfect. So it's on his account.
That's right.
Let the ophthalmologist pay. He's got lots of money. Don't worry. Let him pay. He'll never even notice, because you're part of the friends and family. That's great.
You know what that's called?
What?
Return on investment.
Yeah. You did good. You got him into college. You got him into medical school. You did really good, Stan.
Well, we have another son who is a neuroradiologist.
Oh, man.
And but he's not local.
Does he give you free X-rays? Free brain scans?
Oh, yes. That's what he does. But he's in Texas, so we don't.
All right. Well, it's good that. Hey, that's great. You got LASIK. That's great.
Yeah, and our oldest son, that's another story. He's got his PhD in physics.
Oh, you really screwed up with him, didn't you?
Yes, I told him that.
No, yeah, that's in the old days, a family had a lot of kids. One would go into the priesthood. That was like giving back. Now it's physics. It's close.
Mm-hmm.
Very close. You've got a son in the priesthood of physics.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be, but
hey,
it doesn't always work out that way.
Stan,
that's another story that I won't.
And believe me,
but in aerospace, bad news.
Yeah, well, it was a good business to be in until recently.
Yes, well, that's how I came through it. Yeah.
So, Stan, definitely the first thing is go down and do it with your wife, because I think it'd be good for you both to do this. Because then if she says, "Oh, they showed me this," and you can remember, "Oh, I remember," then it'd be a fun thing to do together. But the one-on-one at the Apple Store is absolutely wonderful.
Okay, absolutely. I appreciate the advice.
Anytime. Yeah, don't get a book yet, because the books will be out of date anyway. The new iPhone and the new iOS come out in a week or two, and that's going to change everything. iOS is going to look different. So don't worry about a book. Get that one-on-one training. They'll for instance, you'll be updating that iPhone to iOS 7 in the next couple of weeks. It's going to look different. And the genius will say, okay, here's how you do this. Here's how you get your address book in there. Here's how you get your calendar in there. I'm thinking this is the beginning of a very exciting time for you, Stan. And I do think the iPad might be in your future as well. My mom is 80, loves her iPad. Of course, I've always given her computers. She's had Windows 2000. She's had OS 10. She's got a laptop. She's got a desktop. She never took to anything as much as she took to that. She loves that iPad. And then the last time she was out, I gave her a Galaxy Note 2 because I thought maybe she didn't have a smartphone. I thought maybe a big phone would be a good choice for her because of the big screen. She loves it. Loves it. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Nathan, do I have an ad to do here, or should I just soldier on?
Nope, you're good.
All right. It's Labor Day weekend. I forgot. Happy Labor Day weekend. Neff in San Antonio. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Neff.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Pretty good. Hey, listen, something seems to be wrong with my keyboard. Sometimes it types in a different letter than it's supposed to. What do you think I should do?
Well, it depends what's wrong with it. It may be that, this sounds silly, but there are function keys that will change the way the keyboard works. There's a scroll lock and there's a num lock key on some keyboards. If you hit the num lock key by accident, then where you would be typing E, R, T, D, F, G, C, V, B, you get a number pad instead. And it types numbers. And so make sure that they're usually little lights on those keys. Make sure those little lights on the keyboard aren't on, that you didn't accidentally go into num lock. If, however, this happens randomly on different keys with different letters, it could just be the keyboard shorted out a little bit. It's not unusual for keyboards to get cruft in them. You ever eat a sandwich over your keyboard? Chicken noodle soup, crackers, and those little bits of debris. Gosh, I don't even want to look at my keyboard. That's disgusting. They fall in there into the cracks, and they can make things behave a little strangely. Here's what I would do. First of all, you can get a new keyboard for $10. They're cheap. So maybe just look at a new keyboard. It'd be good to have a second one, because one of the tests you want to do is get a cheap keyboard, plug it in, see if it works fine. If it does, then it's the old keyboard. If it doesn't, it could be the keyboard controller on the computer or the software itself. And then if you have another keyboard, one thing you can do, it's risky, is run it through the dishwasher. I'll explain how when we come back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. This keyboard should go through the dishwasher. It's disgusting. Ugh. Well, I don't know. Hey, John! Go out there and get Johnny to fix them. Yeah. I have no idea how this stuff works. Well, of course, the great Burke McQuinn is the best. There's nobody better. The laptop that got wet is in good shape. Burke put it in rice, and it seems to have fixed it. It's all better. Mo better. So, if a keyboard is worn out and malfunctioning, and it's a choice between throwing it out or perhaps getting it working again, I would run it through the dishwasher. I find that to be a salubrious way of reconditioning the keys. I did get the rice out. Burke opened it up. You got a Pentalobe and open it up. Yeah, the Lenovo Edge is a good keyboard. There's a new one, a programmer's keyboard that's similar. I just saw, it's from, it's like the coder's keyboard. I'm very tempted to get it. It's expensive. But it's built by the guy who co-founded Stack Overflow, Jeff Atwood. See if I can find it here. It's from WASD Keyboards, which is a manufacturer of Hispancy mechanical keyboards. But I guess they're coming out with their coder's keyboard soon. See if I can find a link to it. Here's the blog post. It's the Code keyboard. So it's got all these nice features, including dip switches on the back that let you reprogram the control key. The caps lock key. Hallelujah. $150, but it's not out yet. Oh, it was out, but they sold out. Uses Cherry MX mechanical key switches. They're not real clicky loud. Up to 6 keys can be pressed at the same time. and Control, Alt, and Shift don't count. They're modifier keys, so you can actually hold 9 keys simultaneously. Don't know why you'd want to, but you could. You could. It's got a steel black plate. It's backlit, which I really like. So it's lights up. Because I like to program in the dark. Let's do it all together. How's my Simpsons game? Let's do it. Let's see. Let's see how much. Yeah, well, I spent $300 on it, and they still owe me because they have 1,400 of my donuts.
Is it still crashing on your
Well, let's see. I haven't checked it lately. I sent him a note saying, do you know who I am? I hate to play that card, but I finally played that card last week, and I haven't heard from him, so I guess they don't know who I am. No, I think I'm not back to tapped out. I'm not, because I don't think... last time I checked, and I checked fairly frequently, it crashes. Oh, some updates. I had Krusty Land, and I was setting up Krusty Land, and it was right after the Krusty Land update. And I think I know what happened, which is I played on several devices. I had updated one device and played and set up Krusty Land, and then went to another device. And usually, that wasn't updated yet. Now, usually, if you haven't updated, it says, "Oh, wait, you got to update it." But this time, it didn't. It opened it up, and there was no Krusty. There was no monorail. There was just a hole where the monorail was supposed to be, and then it never worked again. So, let's see. This is where it would crash. Gets me this far. Plays the sound of a level up. Plays the level up sound, and then.
They never got back to you?
No, I pulled the card, which I hate to pull, of do you know who I am? I'm Leo Laporte, and that's encouraging. That's the first time I've ever seen the Surfers Down retry, but that doesn't mean anything.
So you're like,
Maybe they're working on it. Huh? Yeah, see, you heard that level up sound? This is when it'll crash. And it just force closes out. I haven't played Tiny Tower in a while. Yeah, it's still not working. No. Right after that Krusty Land update. That's what happened. It was the Krusty Land update that did it. Anyway, I don't care. I'm playing Plants vs. Zombies. Actually, I'm not playing it too hard because I want to save it for the long plane flight I'm going on 2 weeks from Tuesday. Well, you have to have something to do in those planes. You can't eat caviar and drink champagne for 12 straight hours. You've got to have something you could do while on Ambien and martinis.
Don't take the Ambien.
You didn't say do well.
Do, 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 do. That happy-go-lucky theme signals it's time once again for the Tech Guy Show, the show where we answer computer questions for all and sundry. Hello, I'm Leo Laporte. Thanks for joining me today. Also here, the lovely Heather Hammond. She'll be taking your calls, answering your questions, and guiding... What?
Nothing.
Guiding you carefully in the right direction. So we would talk about smartphones. Big months coming up of new smartphones, including a new iPhone or two. Maybe even a new iPad. We don't know. I mean, we're due, but it's unknown. We were talking about, what else? Home theater, that big TV I bought, that crazy TV. Wow. I don't know why I did this, a $9,000 TV. Because I did it for you, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. Not you, Heather. For you collectively. All of you. Yous. For y'all. You guys. I did it for you guys because it's a new technology, this OLED technology. We've seen it in smartphones. There have been all sorts of OLED smartphones. All the Samsung phones are OLED. But we haven't seen it on a big screen TV yet. They showed it at CES last year and this year, the Consumer Electronics Show. But these are the first consumer versions. LG announced one and started shipping it a few months ago. That was $15,000. So I was prepared for it to be, out of my price range. So when Samsung said, no, we can make it for less. We've improved the technology. It's only $9,000. Well, I just had to jump. But there are other things. I wanted to. We've been reviewing it. We're going to get Scott Wilkinson to come up. He's going to calibrate it. We'll do a show on that. Robert Heron from Techzilla on Revision 3 has said, I want to review it too. So he's going to come over. He's an old friend. And then the other question is, I really think these are amazing screens. They really look great. But the question is how well they'll wear, how well they'll age over time. And the only way to know that is to get one early on and see. Because I think these will be very affordable in the next 3 or 4 years. So I'll be ready.
It. Okay.
Yeah. Once they're going to come down fast. And once they do, then I will be there saying, hey, yeah, no, these wear well or maybe not. We'll find out. So I'm a guinea pig. Let's think of it that way. I'll tell you some things that are not very well done on it. The software, I can crash it every single time. I could force it to, for some reason, when I go into edit channels, boom, it crashes. The whole TV reboots. Now, when you're in the normal course of watching it, it does not reboot. That would be bad. But the software is early days. They just started shipping these, and I hope that they will have an update soon. It does something good, though, for couples. It has a feature called Multiview. Get this. You can watch 2 different shows at the same time on this TV set. What? You have to wear the 3D glasses. They have active shuttered glasses, right? And the way these are the glasses that you'd watch a 3D screen with, and the way they work for 3D is when the shutter changes, you're looking at one screen and then the other screen. It does it so fast, the eyes put it together, and it looks like it's 3D. Well, that same technology can be used to watch Oprah on one set of glasses and Donahue on the other set of glasses. And you have little headphones built into the glasses. It's full screen. You think you're watching your own TV show with your little headphones in, but hubby sitting next to you is watching the game. Well, I don't think I'll ever use it, but I think it's an interesting idea.
So she's watching Lifetime, he's watching football,
exactly.
And they're both reacting to completely different things on the screen.
Right.
Where's the shared?
It's not a shared experience. No.
I don't know if I.
It's not something I would use. In fact, it's funny that you should say that, because that's exactly the complaint that my friends have come up with. Well, don't you want to watch? Let's all watch together. Why watch? But I guess some couples it might be a marriage saver. I guess.
Right.
It's an interesting. It's Samsung. Yeah, Samsung throws weird stuff in.
That's a trip.
Just because they can.
The husband's like high-fiving the touchdown, and the wife is crying because the person has terminal cancer on the movie she's watching.
Well, you're wearing glasses, you can't really tell what the other person's doing. I have to say this. Now, I'm not, as you know, a fan of 3D TV, but the 3D is excellent on this because the screen is capable of a lot more brightness than a traditional HD TV. And that was always one of the things I didn't like. When you go to the movie theater and you're watching a 3D movie, it's dimmer because you're only seeing half the brightness. It's literally half as bright. But this screen amps up when you're watching 3D. And so it actually doesn't look dim. The 3D is very good. Wow. I hate to admit it, but the 3D is pretty good. Anyway, just as long as I keep mentioning it, I can deduct it on my taxes. So you'll be hearing me talk a lot more about this
between now and April 15th.
Boris, New York, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Boris. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure.
Really love all your shows.
Thank you.
Really huge fan of everything you do. So I have a little bit of a dilemma. I sold both my iPhone and my iPad, and now...
Did you do that in a fit of pique? Was it like, that's it, Apple, I'm done?
Well, no. It was because, I heard that new iPhones and new iPads were coming out in September. And I figured it was a good time to sell my current devices, which I'm glad I did because I had a 4S.
Might have been a tad premature, but okay.
Yes. But you know what? Well, you know what? I watch Mac Break Weekly, and I trust your sources. And as soon as I heard that the new devices were coming out September 10th, I trusted that, and here we are today. However, I have a question because now I recently saw the Nexus 7.
Yeah.
It's tough. Do I wait till October?
Well, first of all, we have no idea what the iPad situation is. Unlike the iPhone, where it seems people have pretty much reached consensus on what we're going to see and when. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of consensus on when there'll be new iPads or if there'll be a new iPad mini, for instance, this year at all. In the past, as in last year, Apple announced a new iPad and the iPad mini in October. But then they released another iPad in the spring, right? So it's completely unclear what Apple's going to do. I have to say, I think the Nexus 7 is pretty amazing. $229 for the Wi-Fi version. It's a better screen than on the iPad mini or even the full iPad. It's a very high-resolution screen. The only thing not to like about it is the shape is a little long and thin. If you're used to the iPads, they're a 4:3 aspect ratio, 4 wide by 3 up and down. And this is a 16:9, so it's kind of weird feeling.
Well, and the other thing is, I bought a lot of apps on these devices. You know, so Apple kind of has me because I have an Apple TV, but now I don't have my iPhone or my iPad. Now I'm definitely going to get the iPhone on September 10th or the 20th.
Yeah, it'll be out. They announced the 10th, and everybody seems to agree it'll be out by certainly by the 20th, more like the 15th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty exciting, and I'm really excited about the camera on that.
And by the way, the iPhone is just a small iPad, so you'll at least be able to run the apps you used to run and kind of, catch up on your Simpsons Tapped Out or whatever it is you've been missing.
Right. And Angry Birds.
Angry Birds, all that stuff, yeah. I would love to see an iPad mini with a Retina display, with a very high-res display. And I think that'll be a compelling product. Don't know if it's this year, though. I don't even know if they got a new iPad 10-incher. They say, the rumors are that we've seen pictures of a 10-inch iPad that looks much like the mini, smaller bezels, thinner. That would make sense that they'd come out with that this year, but the rumors aren't super strong.
Now, do you think it's worth waiting till October to see if it might come out then?
If you can wait, I would wait. I do love the Nexus 7. And I should say this. A lot of the apps that you use all the time probably didn't cost you a lot of money. So you may look and see on Android that there's almost all the same apps, and the total cost $50 or $60. It might not be a huge amount of money. You should kind of compare and contrast before you decide against it. I hate to see anybody locked into anybody's ecosystem. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I think I bought the Apple TV. I just it needs the Apple software on it. That the OLED is incredible. I mean, it's the kind of thing where you look at it and you go, "Yeah, this is definitely the next generation." It's stunning. It's good for the environment to watch 2 programs at once. That's true, Lawn Dog. You're saving energy.
Saving electricity. Yeah.
We have so many TVs because we're merging households. Between me and Lisa, we have plenty of. Would you like one?
Dibs.
You can have a TV.
You got to let me go through your.
Do you need a
fire
TV?
Sale first.
Jeez, we got TVs.
I don't know. I could use a better TV. The way people go through them these days. I've always got somebody's old TV, and I'm like, this is fine.
Yeah, you don't want too much. You don't want to get too comfortable.
I'm a simple gal.
Be simple. Too much money. It's more money, more troubles.
Right.
So I have 5 TVs and she has 2. So we now have 7 TVs.
I actually have 2. What's that all about?
I never thought I would. I always was one of those. I didn't have a TV when the kids were growing up. We didn't even have a TV for a long time. I was that guy.
Okay.
Yeah. But then, boy, when I fell in deep.
Oh God.
Now
take one of those.
I basically watch TV all the time. The Kuro is actually Jennifer has the good Kuro. I don't have the Kuro. Jennifer has that. I have the. When we split up, I took the crap TV. I have a gym. Web 7446. In fact, the new house has a gym, a room for the gym. That's beautiful. So we're gonna have our gym set up there. Usually, any excess TVs would come here, but you know what? If we don't need it, I'll give it to you, Heather. Be glad to. You just need a truck. Yeah. Yeah, a strong boyfriend. Don't get him on J-Date, though. Go to one of the other places. Yeah.
TV we have at our house in London. It's one of the old box TVs. It's huge.
And it goes way back, right? Yeah.
Big bubble butt.
Bubble butt TV.
Hey, I know. I'm assuming things haven't changed in the last 24 hours that you don't want to do viruses today.
Oh, we can do viruses.
It's the exact one. The government warning.
Yeah, I did. So we didn't have to do one yesterday, but we have to do one today.
There you go.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's not good. It reboots.
It turns on.
What kind of TV?
It's an old Samsung. It was a refurb.
It's obviously damaged. Yeah.
They've replaced everything. So
we have to tell people when they house sit for us, don't get scared.
Don't freak out. Do you have it on a surge protector? Get a good surge protector. Yeah.
I've tried everything. Even a different house that traveled with us to a new house.
Yeah. Yeah, because I would have thought the power. So if it's still doing it, yeah.
I'm thinking the OLED, though, would probably fix it.
Oh, yeah. Get that OLED. You'll love it. The OLED is gorgeous. You watch it and your jaw just drops. It's the difference in SD and HD. It's huge. And it doesn't seem like it should be because it's not higher resolution, but it's just... Engineer, I recommend Trip Light and APC surge protectors.
Well, the kids could game on it, too, and you could watch TV or...
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Somebody could game as you're watching a show. We have so many TVs, it's not really a solution. I don't want to have the kids gaming while I'm trying to watch Meet the Press.
Hey, Leo, we're on a tour in the van now, and we got the Roku 3, and we have clear spot Wi-Fi. Man, it works amazing.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Roll those tumbling dice. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Our website, techguylabs.com, has answers to all the questions you've heard today and a chance for you to add your 2 cents. We'd love it if you add comments because that makes it more valuable. And no, I'm not charging for this. There's no subscription. There'll never be a paywall or anything like that. This is a public service, so you're not throwing your good advice away. It's helping the world. techguylabs.com. That's the website. 8888 Ask Leo is our phone number. Got a few more, about 40 more minutes in the show, so let's take some more calls. Roger is in Gladstone, Alabama. Hi, Roger. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, I've been listening to your program a little while, and I'm not real high-tech on this computer stuff. I've had a PC, which I guess I won't say the name of, but I've had troubles and troubles and troubles.
Well, no, say the name if you had troubles and troubles. Save somebody else from troubles and troubles. I don't mind if you say names.
Well, it's a Dell, and it might be me, but it just seems like I've just had, problems. I hear about virus protection. I hear about malware. I hear about this. I hear about that. And at any rate, I was doing some investigating. I bought a little iPad.
Yeah.
And I love that thing.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of
no worry about malware or viruses on the iPad. It's, that's the beauty of it. Very simple.
Oh, I love it. And cost is a little bit of an issue, but I'm thinking, because I'm kind of older and I'm kind of righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, logical, and they're telling me maybe I should, it's going to be more costly, buy me an Apple. Smoother operation.
Unless you feel the need for more than the iPad's given you, I wouldn't. I mean, you can.
Well, what I wanted to do, I'm getting, closer to, retiring. Somewhat. I'll never retire. I mean, I always work. As long as I can move, I'll do something. But not having to work as much. So I wanted to get into some photography.
All right. Yep. That'd be a good reason to get a computer. I would. It is more expensive to get a Mac because you're buying a professional grade computer. So every computer company, including Dell, sells consumer grade cheaper gear and then business grade higher end gear. When you look at the business grade gear, it's all about the same as an Apple. It's the problem is people compare, because Apple doesn't sell consumer grade stuff. They don't sell cheap stuff. So people compare the business grade stuff that Apple sells with the consumer grade stuff that Dell sells and say, oh, look at the price difference. Well, yeah, because you're not buying the same quality of gear. So, and that's true, it's the same for anything, So I do think Apple's cost more. I think they use higher quality components. They're more careful. The screens are better. In general, it's better hardware. And I do think the operating system is more, a little more robust. It's not perfect. You still, you can't, the reason you don't get viruses as much on Apple is just because there's fewer Apples.
Right. See, I've come up with this lately because I didn't know. I was like, what is this? So I finally, read up enough, and I went. Now you kind of answered my question a little bit with this Apple store, but I'm wondering, since I have a used iPad, and I may buy a couple of years old, or if you think that's a good idea, iMac or whatever you call it, desktop.
You could do that. Actually, Apple sells refurbs. They're not a lot less expensive. They're a few $100 less. But if price is an issue, absolutely get a refurb from Apple. I don't recommend refurbed computers in general unless they're from the original manufacturer and they have the original warranty. But Apple does do that, and the reason they do it is the law prevents them from reselling a computer once it's been opened. So if you Google Apple and refurb, you'll find their page for refurbished Macs, and you'll see that the prices are a few $100 less. Those are, in almost every case, at least if you get a current model, the same as you would buy. It's what happened is somebody bought it, had buyer's remorse, sealed it back up, sent it back. Apple can't sell it as new, but they can sell it for a slight reduction on their website. So these are warranted the same as new from Apple in general. They're not a huge discount, but it's a few $100 less. This is the way I would go. A used computer otherwise is buying somebody else's old problems. What if you took that Dell, you packaged it up, and you sold it as used? Hey, it's a good old Dell. People would have the good old problems you had.
Well, actually, I kind of got it cleaned up, and so I won't feel too bad. I'm not going to get much money for it because it's an older one. But
that's my point. You buy an old computer or a used computer, you're buying somebody else's problems. So I don't generally recommend used computers. A refurb from the original manufacturer, whether it be Dell or Apple, is fine. Make sure that the Apple Care or the warranty is the same as new. Don't get something that's too old. Make sure it's stuff that is currently sold or at least recently sold.
You know what I'm wondering, though? I knew that if you bought a computer from Apple, they provided you with this training for a certain fee. And I'm wondering if someone just had a used one or got a used one or got it from Mac Resources. They have a place in Huntsville. They sell them used. It's called Mac Resources.
I wouldn't. Same recommendation I just gave you. Buy from the manufacturer, not a third party. You don't know what the source of that is. It's somebody's used computer. You don't want to buy it. You really don't. Not because of Apple training, but just because there's a difference in a used computer and a refurbished computer. Do not buy a used computer unless you just have no money at all, and it's the only way you can get a computer. But just understand you're buying all the problems that computer had, and it probably still does. I just don't. I hear too much from people who have problems with used computers. Just cannot recommend it. Apple does have excellent training if you buy from the Apple Store. In fact, I mentioned that one-on-one training. They do that for Macs as well. It's very good. I don't know if there's an Apple Store near you, though. I'm not sure where the nearest Apple Store is, but that's a third party. Can't recommend it. Bob, Riverside, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Leo. Good to hear you.
What's up?
Have a problem. You know how the monitor goes on to stay power mode?
Yeah.
Well, it's doing that, only thing it won't come back up.
It won't wake up.
No.
Yeah, make sure that your cable's okay and that your video card is okay. Is it a desktop or... Huh?
I changed monitors.
It's still happening with other monitors.
Mm-hmm.
Did you change the cable?
Well, the cable's on the monitor.
Okay, it's a normal cable. It's built into the monitor.
I just bought a new video card, with a GT640.
Well, you've narrowed it down to the software. It's not the hardware. It's going to have to be Windows.
I just put in Windows 7, and that's when it started.
Yeah. So here's what's probably going on. When you install Windows, the Microsoft installer looks at hardware and decides what power savings features to put in particular. It's at, what is it, the APCI? There's a power-saving mode. It needs a kernel that supports it. When you upgrade, if you're not careful, you can upgrade in such a way that you don't have ACPI enabled. And I think that's what's going on. It's messed up. What you'll probably want to do, I bet you did an upgrade. You'll want to do is a clean install of Windows 7, like from scratch. Erase the hard drive. Back up your data first, of course, but then erase the hard drive, take that Windows 7 disk, do a clean install. And that way it'll install the proper ACPI kernel. That's the power-saving kernel, and I think it'll fix this problem. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Once you install it, you're stuck with the kernel, The only way to modify the kernel is to reinstall from scratch. No, Rob Enderley's never been on Twit. Not to my knowledge. Huh? No. Is he? I hope not. Dvorak is. I think we have Dvorak, Chang, Jason Snell. Can't remember who else. One other, I think. Chang, Snell, Tim Stevens, and John C. Dvorak. Chad is not here. He's at Dragon Con. Dragon Con. But John will be here, so you can meet John C. if you want. Roger's work as a producer on Techzilla. And he still does East Meets West once in a while. Rob Enderley was on Twit 372. Really? I don't remember that. Was I here? I was. Oh, no, that was when Dvorak was hosting. I would never have Enderley on in a million years. Yeah, that was John put that panel together. Never in a million years. Because I don't do analysts. The problem with analysts is they're not the same as journalists. Very, very big difference. Sometimes their research is good, but their audience is different. So yeah. John had him on. I'm sure it was when John was hosting. We allowed John to pick his panel. We're not going to do that again. That was a weird show, I think. I remember that show. Do not know Michael T. Jones. We generally do not have on Twit anybody but journalists. So I don't like to have people, especially on Twit, but there are a few shows like Twig, we might have somebody from Google on Twig in a different context. But Twit is supposed to be, Enderley, that was the show with Jolie Odell, that's right. And they said the iPhone was a girly phone. It was just horrible. It was horrible. I was embarrassed. Yeah, that won't happen again. Hello, Maddie. Thank you. Yeah, we really try to get journalists on. Jenny is kind of, we asked Jenny, she was sick, and then now she's pretty much not doing this kind of thing anymore. So, PowerPress. Okay, I'll remember that, Addy Man. I knew there was another one that people were starting to use more than PodPress. I couldn't remember the name. I love Baratunde. Well, Shido, it's Baratunde's schedule. Baratunde has a standing invitation. I would have him on every show if I could. But his schedule's crazy, so he's just not on very often because he's not available. And Doctor was always on just when he was in town. Basically he said, I'm going to be in town. I'm going to be on Twitter. And I say, oh, okay. Oh, I forgot to talk about dishwashers. I did. I'll do that. Yeah, Clayton's been on many, many times. He's an old friend. Dvorak was not on last week. I don't think so. Yeah, we're due to have Jerry back on. I'll get Chad to get Jerry on. Jolie is polarizing. Some people love Jolie. Some people hate Jolie. She's so anti-tech that some people really hate her. Yeah, I don't dislike Mike, but he's not somebody I would probably have on. He's no longer covering the scene. He's actually a good writer, though. He writes some good stuff. She blinded me with science. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888, ask Leo. That's the phone number. I was going to talk about washing your keyboard in the dishwasher. We had a caller who was having trouble with his keyboard. Now, don't do this if you can't afford to lose the keyboard. It's a last resort, and because it may not work. But I've found it works quite well. You don't put it in the dishwasher with dishes. You don't want to get gravy in your keyboard. That's not going to make it better. But the nice thing about a dishwasher is it's fairly safe way to wash a keyboard. The jury's still out on whether to use soap or not. I do. It's probably not a good idea. The real key is after you put it through the dishwasher, put it through a cycle, it comes out nice and clean, but don't use it until it's totally dried. Right? You want to completely dry it. And the keyboards really are nasty. If you look at them closely, it doesn't take very long for them to get scongilis, to get really messed up. And it's got to be a real germ conveyor, really, right? Wiping it with a a Clorox wipe, that's not going to, I think you need to run it through the dishwasher. But about 1 time in 10, it breaks the keyboard entirely and never work again. So it's got to be something you can afford to lose. It's like a last resort. I happen to like to do it. There are people, and it's so funny. When we first started Tech TV, for some reason, we did many, many segments on cleaning keyboards and mice, which paid really very little attention to the fact that it's only $5 to replace one or $10. But we would show you how to pry the keycaps off. We'd say, take a picture before you take them off so you know you can put them back in the right place. Pry the keycaps off. Use compressed air to blow it off. Carefully wipe all the contacts. Put the things back on. It took hours for a $5 keyboard. Forget it. Either buy a new one or put it through the washing machine. A laptop keyboard, that's another matter. Do not put it through a washing machine. Not recommended. Rob and Tarzana, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Rob.
Hey, Leo.
Hey.
I'm calling you about an old product that you used to rave about. The old Blue Ant, the Bluetooth hands-free speaker.
Love those. I just found my old Blue Ant the other day.
Okay, well.
She was in a closet. I don't know how she got locked in there, but no wonder she was blue. But we let her out, and she's fine now. No. It's a Bluetooth device. They made little earbuds, but I had the one that was on the visor of the car, big old unit, and it was great. It added voice, calling to a car that didn't have it.
All right, so here's my question. I'm wondering about, since it's going to be mounted on the device. Yeah, I remember you raving about it.
Yeah.
But what I want to know is, since it's mounted on the visor close to your head, is there any potential danger due to electromagnetic fields?
No. There's a danger that might fly off and clonk you in the forehead, but there's no danger that it, no. There's a guy who comes in here pretty regularly. He's a computer guy. He's a programmer. He says, Wi-Fi is really bad for you. And he's going around trying to take Wi-Fi out of our local public schools. And the damage that he's going to do if he succeeds is far greater than any damage Wi-Fi is going to cause kids. But in order to understand this, you have to understand how radio frequency works and what power has to do with it, and what the most important thing is, how power diminishes over distance. It is reduced in energy by the inverse of the square. Now, that may be meaningless to you, but the gist of it is it drops off really rapidly. A Bluetooth, and people sometimes, I know a lot of people who use wired Bluetooth, non-Bluetooth, but wired headsets on their phone. Oh, I would never put a radio transmitter on my ear. It's going to fry my brains. No evidence of this, ever. There has never been any evidence of this. But then they put in a little wireless thing, and then I love to tell them, well, what you're really doing is you're making sure that the power, much higher power, by the way, in your cell phone is transmitted directly into your ear, because that's what that wire is doing. But they don't understand how radio frequency works. Attaching a wire to a phone and putting it in your ear is worse than wearing a Bluetooth headset. In my opinion, none of it is damaging. I've never seen convincing evidence. You worked for Dr. Dean Adele for 11 years, Heather Hammond. Dr. Dean, what did he say about this stuff?
The whole 11 years, we said, this has never been proven. It's garbage. It's bunk.
You're getting, there's radio frequency coming off of everything. Constantly.
Yeah, before we ever had electricity and devices. And we're fine. We live longer than we've ever lived.
There is no evidence of this being damaging. Don't worry. Use your Blue Ant. Frankly, having it on the visor is better than having it over the ear, and it's still, neither one is dangerous.
Yes.
And I have, people come in with all sorts of, quote, research, which ends up almost invariably being links to internet pages. That's not research. That's not research.
It's conspiracy and paranoia.
This stuff is not dangerous. It really isn't. Don't worry about it. Please feel free. Believe me. Now, we used to, when I was a young radio guy working in San Francisco, there's an antenna in San Francisco, Sutro Tower. It's a beautiful thing. It's on Twin Peaks. It's got the best view of the Bay Area ever. And we used to go up there all the time. We'd climb up all the time and hang out on the top there. I don't know why there was a mattress up there. Had you ever been up there? I know.
Not in a while.
I think that there's a little shack and a mattress. I don't know why. I guess somebody spent the night up there, but it was very comfortable.
Some engineer.
We used to go up there all the time. And then, all of a sudden, somebody put a sign. You know, I have to admit, now they're big, 100,000-watt FM transmitters on these towers. It's a metal tower. And I'd have to admit, I'd come down, and there'd be little white spots on my hand, and I'd ask my engineer friend, I won't say his name, what is it? He said, oh, don't worry, just RF burns. No big deal. In a little while, they started requiring people wear metal mesh bunny suits to go up there. Now, this is 100,000 watts. Your Bluetooth is a tenth of a milliwatt, a few milliwatts, a few thousandths of a single watt. I'm talking 100,000 watts, and there are 20 or 30 stations on this tower. And we climb up, we'd hang out, people would live up there.
And so far,
so good. I don't
you're
have
okay.
Don't have the big C. I have little RF burns, but even where I got the RF burn, now that's probably okay. Now I'm saying that's probably dangerous, and they're probably right to make you wear metal mesh bunny suits when you go up there. I think that's sensible. But we're talking about the order of magnitude in the amount of power that we were exposed to on that tower compared to years of exposure to Bluetooth or cell phones. The difference is huge, and it's still fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're okay.
It is the last thing on earth you should worry about.
So many more ways you can die.
Oh, yeah.
So many more ways. Anyway, thank you for it's like the Woody Allen movie where they're in the movie line and they're having a debate over Marshall McLuhan, and Woody Allen says, well, I happen to have Marshall McLuhan right here. And Marshall McLuhan says, you know nothing of my theories. Being able to say, what does Dr. Dean Adele? That's like almost as good. What does Dr. Dean say about that? Let's move on. Joe is on the line. Okay, you're going to have to help me with this, Heather.
Cheektowaga.
Very nicely. Did she say that right, Joe?
You sure did. If you've flown in or out of Buffalo, you've been in Cheektowaga because that's where the airport is.
Oh, Cheektowaga, New York.
Yep.
It's probably an Oneida Indian name.
Well, actually, Seneca. Land of the crabapple trees.
All right. There you go.
So, I just think if you're going to take your backups to work, you've got to be really careful about doing it because, like happened to me when I got laid off from my last job.
Oh.
Yeah, they say, oh, Joe, we got to take you into this conference room over here. We got to talk to you about security. And really what it was is, I'm sorry, you can't work here anymore.
And they escort you out, and you can't take anything with you.
Yeah, pretty much it. So, couple caveats is, well, if you own the place, that's good.
But work might... That's a good point. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, microwaves, that's a different matter. We're talking gigahertz, not megahertz. A lot more energy. But even then,
I think it's pretty
and
clear
Wi-Fi
today.
is at microwave frequencies, but it's just so low power. There's so little energy. This poor guy would come in here. He stopped coming in here because I just mocked him. He'd come in here and say, well, you're going to read the research, aren't you? No, I'm not. No. And I'm not. And he's going from principal to principal here in Petaluma schools saying you shouldn't have Wi-Fi in the school. It's bad for the kids. Yeah.
The song's online on our website for people to download. So I don't know.
Oh, I'll give it a plug. What's the website?
It's growcodeband.com.
Now, you know we brought it down last time.
Yeah.
We're going to bring it down again. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I'll download it first.
Sweet.
I probably could have stated that better, but...
What?
Oh, the EMF thing.
Yeah, EMF is another one. That was a big thing. Don't live near power lines.
Right.
It was a big thing for a long time. But that's so much more power than these.
It's just so insane. It's like the Jenny McCarthy thing. Just weird crap that
Well, I asked the guy that. I said, how do you feel about vaccines? He said, oh, I like them. I said, oh, good.
Yeah, you told me that.
Oh,
That's
good.
so crazy.
Oh, EMF loved that band. Yeah.
You're unforgettable.
And we don't want EMP. I agree.
Oh, unbelievable, right?
Unbelievable. Ow.
Unforgettable. Oh, it's a mashup. Unbelievable and unforgettable.
Is it? That'd be good. You're unbelievably unforgettable.
EMF with Nat King Cole.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. People didn't want it. People thought that if when automobiles first emerged, they were very worried about what would happen if we went faster than 30 miles an hour. And there was a large group of people who believed that women's wombs would be damaged by traveling faster than 30 miles an hour. It would cause infertility. It was a very serious concern.
If only.
It's the new hysterectomy.
So I won't get pregnant tonight.
They thought that you'd explode.
Although, wasn't there somebody that said we shouldn't put radios in cars?
Yes.
And I'm kind of...
Same thing.
Might have been a decent idea.
Same thing. Do you know the first radios were little record players? First music in cars was a little record player.
I've seen one. Was that right?
Yeah.
And it
jazz
folded
age.
out of the glove box, right? And you put a record on. Oh, that's so awesome. But that's back when people parked.
It was like Gatsby.
You know?
Yeah. It was Gatsby era.
Although, that's sounding better and better.
If you drink, don't park. Accidents cause people. I did. You guys got it right away. It took me a while. I had to read it again. Yes, that's how Motorola started. Motorola's were the first car radios.
My friend Sherry Brown said to say hi to you. Did you ever work with her?
Sherry Brown.
Sherry Meeks.
Sherry Meeks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was before she was brown. I worked with her when she was meek.
And that would be at which station?
God, I don't know. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I'm like, wait, when did you work with Leo? Like everybody
Must have been
I know worked with you.
KNBR, I think. Yeah, well, I worked at KGO, KSFO, KNBR, and Clock, which is no longer around. I worked. It was KKSF. It was Clock FM, then became KKSF.
I could just hear you though.
My first San Francisco station was Clock FM, and then it became KKSF.
Oh.
Very dangerous electromechanical frequencies, EMF or whatever. Magnetic. I don't know what it is. It's unbelievable. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, our bro coders. If you watched before the show, if you were watching the video streaming of the show, we had a little boy band in here, the Bro Code Band at brocodeband.com, and their mom, who runs the outfit, Xander Hastings, Connor Hastings, and Cam Hastings, their mom said, "Quickly, get the song on the website." So they did. And the Carpe Diem song they performed for us at the beginning of the show is now available for free download on their website. I can play a little bit of it here. It is brocode, BROCODE band.com. I think they're the next NSYNC. I think they're the next New Direction. And they're so cute. I like it. Anyway, Brocode Band. Let's bring the site down. brocodeband.com. They're all brothers. That's why it's the bro code, right?
Right.
Yeah. How come one of you wears a bow tie?
Because I'm the cool one.
Because he's the cool one.
Oh, so you can get away with it?
One Direction, not New Direction. One Direction. I don't know the boy bands. I'm learning. Moving on. Did we do the Chickatawaga thing? Yeah, well, we kind of did. And I think it was a very good advice. I'll go back to Joe briefly. He said he backed everything up on drives, brought it to work. Then they fired him without letting him take his stuff with him, including his backups.
Well, yeah, something to that effect. I mean, they took a bunch of stuff that thought was mine and put it in a box, brought it to the same conference room, and they thought they got everything, but no, there was still stuff left behind.
Wow.
So,
including your backups. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, be really careful about that. For example, encrypt the whole drive so that
That's a very good point. I mean, you can afford to lose a backup because it is, after all, only a backup. You're not like you're losing the original. But they then have all your data. So, I carry with me when I travel. I'm about to go on a long vacation, and I'm going to, of course, take my cameras. And I take external drives to back up photos as I take them. I make sure that all external drives and any laptops, any devices that leave the house have encryption on them. Because if I leave a drive behind with stuff on it, that stuff is now available to whoever gets it. So,
I mean, wouldn't it just be the worst thing if that was your only offsite backup, and you come home to find your place was robbed?
Yeah. Well, that'd just be a bad day all around.
Well, my point is, I think you have to put your offsite backup in some place that you have control over.
Carbonite. Oh, I'm sorry.
Carbonite, yes, or a long-term storage facility. No,
you're right. I always say bring it to work, but that presumes that nobody's going to ever get fired. I think Joe. You're absolutely right. Bring it somewhere where you will not lose control of it. My friend Steve Gibson, our hard drive guru, our security guru. I don't know if he still does this. He used to burn DVDs of his critical data and mail them to his mother. And he'd say, Mom, you don't have to know what this is or what to do with it. Just put it away somewhere safe in a closet. And, if I ever need it, I'll be contacting you. I can only imagine what she must have thought. What is Steve sending me? But bring it to your folks' place. Bring it somewhere safe. If you don't think you're going to get fired, it's all right to bring it there. But I do think it's a good idea. Anytime data goes out of your control or is left somewhere, that you have it encrypted. Very simple to turn on full disk encryption on any operating system. BitLocker on the Windows, File Vault on Mac. Use it on your external drives too. It's a very, very, thank you, Joe. Very good idea. Martin Bellflower, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Yeah, Leo, how are you?
I'm good, Martin. How are you?
Well, I've been better. I'm a little ashamed to be making this call because I've heard this type of call before, but I'm sorry. I didn't pay attention because I never thought it would happen to me.
Uh-oh. What happened? Uh-oh.
Well, I thought my antivirus would cover me for this, so I woke up this morning and found this thing saying something about being from the federal government, and I violated some type of laws or whatever, and I've got to go to the local 7-Eleven and buy a money order or something like that and send money. And
Martin never thought it would happen to him until it did. Don't let ransomware take you off guard. So here's the deal with that. First of all, it doesn't mean you're infected. You can get a pop-up on a website that says that, but it isn't in fact an infection. If it's just a browser window, close it and continue on as if nothing happened.
Well, every time I reboot it or turn it back,
it comes back, then you got it. So you make an interesting point. I'm running an antivirus. How did I get this? Antiviruses can only go so far. For instance, they wouldn't be much use if it were, and some antiviruses are this kind of aggressive, if they prevented you from installing software, for instance. Nope, can't install it. You're running an antivirus. What do you mean? I just want to install software. Nope, can't do it. You're running an antivirus. So they allow you, they presume that you know what you're doing a little bit. But remember, a bad guy, to get stuff on your system like this ransomware, how does he do it? He gets you to run software. So you can be, this is often called social engineering. You can be tricked. One of the most popular tricks is to send you a link saying, hey, you won't believe, this is very good, they do that on Facebook frequently, you won't believe what you did last night, I got video. Click that link, and you go, oh my gosh, what did I do? I thought I was home. You click the link. It takes you to YouTube. Oh, YouTube, it's on YouTube. Now I'm really in trouble. And YouTube says, oh, can't show you the video. What? You need the updated Flash. Oh, quick, click yes, update Flash, and you run a program. Except that wasn't Flash, it wasn't YouTube. It was a fake page, and it wasn't, what you ran was malware, was an installer that put bad stuff on your system. Now, an antivirus sometimes will protect you if it says, oh, I've seen this scam before. Will sometimes protect you, but it can't always protect you because it's letting you install software. It says, well, yeah, this is something users do. So there is some burden on you not to install stuff from sources you don't know. Now, if you fell for something like that, you'd say, but wait a minute, I thought it was YouTube. Yeah, well, it's easy to make a web page look like YouTube. You have to look at the top at the browser bar and say, does it say youtube.com? Is it, is it really YouTube? Most browsers will warn you if it's not YouTube, but it says YouTube. If there's a mismatch, it'll warn you. Most of the time, it doesn't say YouTube. It says Y0UTOOB.com or something like that. It tricks you. I got a link. I mentioned this before in my direct messages. A friend sent me a link saying, oh, man, you got to try this new feature. And there was a link in the tweet. I clicked the link, and it took me to a site that looked exactly like Twitter, except I noticed it was spelled TVVITTER. Twitter. Two V's together look a lot like a W, but aren't. That was a malicious website trying to get my Twitter credentials. I didn't fall for it, but it would be easy to. It'd be easy to. So an antivirus will help you, but it cannot protect you against yourself. Some things you always have to do, even when you have an antivirus. Number one, make sure you keep Windows and your other software up to date. Make sure you turn on Windows Update and have the automatic updates happen every second Tuesday of the month. Whenever there's a critical update, it must be applied immediately. But you also have to keep Adobe Acrobat Reader updated. You have to keep Flash updated. You have to keep anything that goes on the internet must be updated. Anything your browser uses to display video, like Flash, must be kept updated. And please update it from the Adobe site, not some third-party site, right? Make sure you're getting it from the original, that it's not malware. Be very careful when you install or run anything or click on any link in an email or instant message, because that's the beginning of the process to get you infected. So pay close attention when you're clicking a link in an email or an instant message on a Twitter. Look carefully on Facebook. Look carefully at the page it brings you to. And if it asks you to install something, don't. Almost always, it's going after you. Now, you've already got the malware. You certainly can go to places like malwarebytes.org, and they'll say, yeah, we can remove that, run this program, and it may even remove the symptoms. But it's no guarantee that you got everything. And I have to say this every week, at least once. Unfortunately, when you get malware in a system, it often installs other stuff that's hidden. You may remove one of the infections, but not all of them. And the real problem is the infection you don't see, the infection that sits in the background collecting passwords, banking information, sending it back to the mothership, or co-ops your machine, takes it over and uses it to attack other machines. That's a very common use. So you can't always be sure if you're clean. That's why once you get this, the best thing to do, format, literally erase the drive and reinstall. I hate to say it, but that's the best, safest way to secure it. And that's why we don't want to get bit in the first place. Hey, I hope you had a good time. I did. I'll see you next week. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a live performance. Three brothers who've been living in a van in Los Angeles for the last 6 months, and they're now here in studio from the beautiful Twit Brick House. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you bro code.
No, let's do
carpet. All right, let's do
first.
carpet.
Yes. Can you do it?
Yeah.
Just verse and chorus. We'll take the second verse. You go straight to the rap and then finish it up.
Still frame, write whatever comes to your mind. Grab all the pencils and crayons and try to picture perfect life with your design. See the colors, baby, red and blue. Paint this canvas green, green. Make the rain fall out, picture anything. 'Cause today is your choice with the sound of your voice. Yeah. Carpe diem. PM and the PM. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. Your mind clear and your eye on the ball. Say your load standing tall. See the joy in all the pitfall. Keep in mind every moment's a lesson. So take the depression and leave the regression behind. You'll find an easier life, full of expanse. Just close your eyes and dance. Finally, the world will make sense. Seize the day, that's the message of the song. So keep your head up in the clouds. The clear skies come along. Carpe diem, carpe diem, carpe diem. AM to PM. See the moments fly by like the sands of time. As long as you live what you love, yeah, you carpe diem and the PM. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. Yeah, carpe diem and the PM.
Wow, that's bro code. Wow, you guys are great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that one's called Carpe Diem.
And who wrote that?
All three of us.
All of you did.
Yeah.
Your songs are real upbeat, I can tell.
Yeah.
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah, you have sad songs.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a couple
Like
sets,
a
yeah.
couple of them, but we try to stay positive, you know.
And what somebody told me you sang for Sting.
Yes,
Tell me
yes,
about that.
we
Tell me
sang-
about that.
We sang for Sting twice, actually. We met him after the Grammys, after he performed at the Chateau Marmont. And then we were out saying hi to some friends at Sushi on Sunset Strip. And we played for him, and he just absolutely loved it. And it was so cool. Everybody was telling us not to play for him, but we did anyway.
He was about your age when he started, remember?
Yeah.
Awesome. You guys are fabulous.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
And that one's going to be coming out in like a week
Couple
or two.
weeks,
Yeah.
yeah.
Where can we find it?
On our website.
Brocodeband.com.
Brocode, BROCODE band.com.
Yeah, exactly. Or you could just like us on Facebook, and we'll let you know when. So
All right.
Just,
We'll follow you on Facebook.
Awesome.
Hey, you guys rock. Really great. Take that new direction. Yeah. All right. Who's Harry? Which one's Harry? You are, right? No, I'm just kidding. Oh, that's awesome.
I'm Curly. I'm Curly.
Curly, there you go. Hey, that's fun, isn't it? Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the Twit Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.